Call it the perfect racing storm, a historic track, a beautiful day, and the chance to double down for a big payday. Welcome to round 8 of the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series for 2013, the Brickyard Grand Prix from Indianapolis. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Varsha, along with Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader. Race drivers will tell you that just performing here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a privilege, and winning here is an honor. And if you can make a little money doing it, that's even better. This is not just round 8 of the Rolex Sports Car season. It is the third and deciding round in the North American Endurance Championship presented by VisitFlorida.com. And it pays cash bonuses to the top 3 teams, Daytona Prototype, GT, and GX, in the 3 longest races of the year. With 9 Daytona Prototype teams, 15 GT squads, and 2 GX teams still mathematically eligible for a big check here today, well, Calvin, they've just been pulling out all the stops.
They certainly have, and the stars are coming out to play tonight, Bob. Let's start with Tony Kanaan, this year's Indy 500 winner. Returns to the Speedway for the first time since that magical month of May. Then there's guys like Rubens Barrichello, had so much success here over the years in Formula One, including a win for Ferrari in 2002. Then drivers like Joey Hand, AJ Allmendinger, Sebastian Bourdais, drivers in the thick of their championship season. They got the call. Do you want to run an Indy? Absolutely. Everyone wants to win the big one. It doesn't get any bigger than Indianapolis, Dorsey. So there's changes behind the wheel tonight. There's also some big changes in terms of power for some of the biggest teams in our sport.
Well, BMW has a new engine, and it's a sweet little 4.5-liter quad cam 4-valve V8. It's lighter, it turns more RPM, it comes coupled to a 6-speed gearbox instead of a 5, and it's shorter on its assembled heights, which means it brings the center of gravity of the car down. Now, for Ganassi Racing, who's really nowhere in the championship, to switch to this engine, that's not a big stretch. I mean, that they need some help. But our points leader, Peter Barron Racing, has switched from Ford to this BMW engine, and remember, this is the debut for this engine. It's never been run before.
Well, the headlines coming in cover all 3 of our classes. Let's begin with the Daytona Prototypes. With a mechanical failure at the most recent round at Watkins Glen, the points lead enjoyed by the number 10 Corvette from Wayne Taylor Racing evaporated. The 10 car is now tied with the Star Works number 2, which also had issues at the Glen. That left the door open for Action Express. Christian Fittipaldi and João Barbosa have finished 2nd, 1st, and 1st in the past 3 races and are poised to make a final push to the championship lead. They also topped the North American Endurance standings coming to Indy.
Suspension issues forced Alex Gurney off track at the Glen in the Red Dragon. However, they only sit 5 points back. Ganassi's regular season may be all but lost, and their quest for 4 straight titles may be over. But they still have the NAAC Championship in sight. Indy 500 champ Tony Kanaan and DTM driver Joey Hand join the Ganassi assault tonight.
2011 Rolex 24 winner AJ Allmendinger comes back to Mike Shank Racing to give him a lift, and they're not the only one. Other hired guns for the race include Formula One and Indy star Rubens Barrichello and 2012 Rolex Indy winner Sebastian Bourdais. Seems like everyone is looking to kiss the bricks.
Well, Tony Kanaan has kissed the bricks at Indy. Just 9 weeks ago, Tony, you celebrate the victory in the Indianapolis 500, but now you come back and you're going the wrong way down the front straightaway. How different is it to run here in a sports car?
Well, today I would say it's the right way, but it was weird to come out of turn 1 and the opposite way yesterday. But I'm enjoying it a lot. I can't thank Chip Ganassi Racing and NTT Data guys for the opportunity. I'm having a blast. It's my first time on a DP car. Only had 20 laps, and they threw me straight into qualifying to start this race. But I'm having a blast. This place brings me so many good memories from 9 weeks ago that any race here that people invite me to do it, I will do it.
And if Tony Kanaan could win here, he would become the first driver ever to win in 2 different disciplines at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's another driver in the field who could do the same, and he's with Darren Law.
All right, I'm here with Rubens Barrichello. Rubens, obviously, you're known for your time in Formula One, and actually, you've had a lot of success here. You've got 4 podiums with Ferrari and even a win in 2002. So this is not new to you, the track, but sports cars are. How different is sports car racing for you?
Well, it's very different, but what happened here is that I went back to Brazil after the Indy experience, and I raced in Brazil with like a touring car type there, and got used to some of that, and coming back to the DP Daytona Prototype is actually going back towards Formula One. It's an agile car, little heavy, but it's so fun to drive, so fun. In this track, we can carry a lot of speed and even reach 180 at the end of the straight. Good overtaking. I'm over the moon to be back to Indy and to be able to race here.
That's great. You had a great qualifier. Will we see you again in any more sports cars this year?
Well, I'm not so sure about this year because this was a late deal. Obviously, I'm quite tight with my championship over there, but I wish to do something more in the U.S. I have more to do here.
All right, that's great. Thanks, Rubens. Chris, over to you.
Darren, it's every young racer's dream to race at the Indy 500, and finally this year that came true for A.J. Allmendinger. Not only running the Indy 500, but driving for Roger Penske. And A.J., you were in contention to winning. You didn't get to kiss the bricks, but you might get to today. Would it be just as satisfying?
A win in Indy, no matter what you're in, is satisfying. This is what it's all about. I felt so fortunate to be able to run the Indy 500. I feel just as lucky to be able to run here with Michael Shank Racing. Michael Shank, one of my best friends in the world. Love driving for him. We've won a Rolex together. I think it's time to go kiss the bricks together.
Yeah, they won that Rolex 24 back in 2011. Bob?
All right, thanks very much, guys. As you see, the field's set on the racetrack. We've heard from a couple of Indy winners. There's a couple more. Jeff Gordon has won here in stock cars. Pablo Montoya has won the Indy 500. Today, Tony Kanaan and Rubens Barrichello could go them one better by winning in a second discipline. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here on Speed. Just minutes away now from the start of the Brickyard Grand Prix, round 8 of the Rolex sports car season for 2013. Earlier, we showed you the headlines in our Daytona prototype class coming into the weekend. We continue now with Grand Touring. Magnus Racing still holds the advantage in GT after a podium finish at the Glen. They've yet to finish worse than 6th this year, but remain without a victory. That could change tonight, however, as they are the defending Brickyard winners.
After contact leaving the pits in mid-Ohio broke their win streak, Stevenson Motorsports got back on track at the Glen, collecting their 4th win in 5 races and sit just 6 points out of 1st and lead the North American Endurance Championship points.
2 Ferraris sit 3rd and 4th, the 63 and the 69, which is fresh off 2 straight podiums and 2nd place in the NAEC. Still winless in 2013, the famed manufacturer would love a breakthrough at the Brickyard.
There are just 2 BMWs in the field tonight, both from Turner Motorsports. The 94 car sits 5th in GT points and are looking for their 2nd victory of the season. Audi also remains strong in the NAEC due to their win at the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Felipe Albuquerque and Eduardo Mortara have the 24 car sitting 3rd. Engines have fired and the field has rolled off. Here's a look at our pole sitters in each of our 3 classes. 4th straight P1 start for the number 10 machine from Wayne Taylor Racing. 3 of those poles won by the man you see there, Jordan Taylor, son of the team owner. The other was a qualifying washout, and the places were set on points. Boris said, a surprising pole sitter in the GT category in the Whelen Corvette, and Tom Long has the first of 2 Mazda Sky Active diesels on pole in the GX category. Now down to the pit lane and Brian Till.
Well, Bob, Jordan Taylor, Max Angelelli, they need to convert this pole into their 3rd victory of the season. Remember, they're tied with Ryan Dial and Alex Popov in the championship. Last round at Watkins Glen, a very rare part broke, a shift linkage, a part that had only reached half its useful life and had never broken before. They've got to put that gremlin behind them, focus on a victory here today, and focus on breaking the tie in the championship. They can do that from pole. For more on the GT pole sitter, here's Chris.
Well, Brian, Eric Curran and Boris Said have started on the front row the last 3 races, but Boris Said getting the team's first pole of 2013 yesterday. He said that lap he had to hang on, not only on the infield, but coming through turn 1 up on the oval. The Whelen Corvette has been very quick this year, but they've only had 1 podium finish. Talking to him about this race, he said we have to execute both on the racetrack and in pit lane. They've had a lot of mistakes this year, but with Sonny Whelen, the team owner, sitting in the box today, they want to come away with the win. Darren?
Well, Tom Long put the number 70 Speed Source Mazda on the pole this weekend. And what's really significant about this is, number 1, it's their 5th pole out of 8 races, which is a great record, and this team is really coming together. The other thing that's significant is this is their Sky Active diesel. There has not been another diesel car raced here since 1952. So they're setting a lot of records. The one record that I don't think anybody's going to beat is back in 1931, the first diesel that ever ran here. They did 500 miles and it cost them $1.40 in fuel. So I think it'll be a tough one to beat. Back to you guys.
Yeah, it was Fred Agabashian in 1952 here with a diesel, the Cummins diesel engine built in nearby Columbus, Indiana. Here's a look at your Rolex starting grid across the top of your screen. Jordan Taylor with his third pole of the year, alongside Memo Rojas in that newly re-engined Ganassi Riley chassis. Field making its way down the long center section, midfield straightaway. Let's talk more about the layout of this Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, Dorsey.
Well, everybody knows Indy worldwide, but they might not know it this way. The road course runs clockwise. And that infield, 13 corners, well, it's quite slippery. It's quite flat through there, easy to spin. But then up onto that long famed straightaway, 26 seconds of wide open throttle will run these cars up to 188 miles per hour, braking for turn 1. Have a good show today.
Here's a look at our onboard cameras. In 3 of the Daytona prototypes, the 3.6 and 02 cars, the 69 GT Ferrari, and the 70 Mazda diesel in the GX category. We expect them to give us some great pictures around this iconic racetrack. The pace car has moved off, and here comes the field, led by Jordan Taylor and Memo Rojas. Chevrolet Corvette Daytona prototype against BMW powered Riley.
Great jump by Jordan Taylor there. Memo Rojas in the 01 machine slots in right behind you. Remember, Yakiman still on probation. He looks to the inside.
2 white cars on the left of the Starworks machines.
Look at this, it's tight. Ricky Taylor forces his way down the inside of Yakiman. A nice clean move.
Cold tires are not up to pressures yet either. They got to watch this infield. Very slippery on this infield surface.
Those are the 16 Daytona prototypes. Now here come the rest of the cars in the GT and GX field.
Great jump on the start right there, and Rob Liddell wisely tucks in behind.
All GM front row there. Corvette versus Camaro. The Audi looking strong. Porsche to the outside down into turn 1.
And then a Ferrari. A great battle of the brands here at Indy.
Look at the opening lap by Jordan Taylor. What a power move he's putting on right now, stretching the lead from Memo Rojas.
To the GT battle. Horsehead in the Corvette.
Hottest team in GT is that 57 car. They've had 4 wins out of the last 5 races. Really closed up in the championship.
Rob Liddell and that Camaro, they share the identical engines, guys. They're the very same wheel size, same brakes, everything but the body is pretty much the same.
Lost a gearbox in opening practice here yesterday. It's a short weekend without a lot of track time. They bounced back nicely to put that car on the front row.
And then the Audi of young Felipe Albuquerque, still in his early 20s, learning his way around the motorsports world. You can imagine what it feels like to him to be racing here at Indy.
Everyone is so pumped up. Everyone wants to compete here, but everyone wants to win. This is special. This is a special day for all of these drivers.
Swinging off the golf course section of the infield, now hard on the gas through a fast right-hander, up into the short chute between oval track turns 1 and 2, and then in the reverse direction, the way the Formula One cars used to travel in the United States Grand Prix at Indianapolis.
You talk about how fast that corner is coming on the straightaway. These cars are over 140 miles per hour. They're the DP cars, upwards of 170.
Liddell down the inside in the red and white Stevenson Camaro.
Yeah, that Camaro's really strong into the brake zone right there. There's a lot of grip right there in turn 1 for these cars. It's the exit of turn 4 on the oval, so there's a lot of rubber down there. Then they transition to this infield, which is very slippery indeed. Not much use throughout the year, of course. Not many races held here. There's a bike race here in 3 weeks, but not a lot of use. There's not a lot of rubber down, so it is really slick.
Not just bikes, my friend. MotoGP coming to Indianapolis in 3 weeks. You'll see it here on Speed.
Jordan Taylor, big lead right now for Memo Rojas, and then the rest of the field slots in.
Jordan swings onto the front straightaway. Let's go to Chris Neville.
Well, NASCAR Sprint Cup practice for an hour and a half earlier today. Jamie McMurray coming down to see his Chip Ganassi teammates start this race. And Jamie, there were some rumors out there that you were potentially going to run this race in the 02 car, but Chip decided to put some guy that won the Indy 500 in. What happened there?
Yeah, I think
I think both Juan and I thought that after Briscoe broke his hand that one of us would get the call, but we already had plans, and obviously Tony is a pretty talented race car driver, so he's in the car this weekend, and both Juan are actually down here just cheering everybody on. It's a really cool weekend for racing to get to have the NASCAR and the Grand Am together.
But yeah, you're not going to race this year probably, but the Rolex 24 next year, you be back in that car?
Yeah, I hope so. It's I really enjoy getting to do that race, and normally you get the call here in the next month or so if you're going to do it or not. So I'm anxiously waiting that call.
Well, hopefully we see him back there. And guys, Max Jones, who runs the NASCAR program for Chip Ganassi, also down here in pit lane. And I was talking to him about Dorsey and Calvin in the booth. He said, man, that's like getting the band back together.
Yeah, one of our old Roush teammates, Dorsey, had a lot of fun at Daytona with Max Jones. Good guy.
Former driver as well, and a very good one, who has Trans Am victory to his credit.
Now as they swing on to this part of the oval track that's being used by the NASCAR Sprint Cup machinery this weekend. A moment here for a replay. This is the 3 car, the 8-Star Motorsports Corvette.
Enzo Podolicchio hasn't had a lot of laps here this weekend. Got in a little bit deep, tried to straighten out. Let's lose it. There's the sister car going through. The Guida behind the wheel.
Might have got away with not flat spotting the tires, though, as he got to the grass.
This team did a couple of days testing at West Palm Beach last week, trying to really work on the low downforce package, as we call it, trimming out this car. And they said they really still don't have a handle on it. In high downforce trim, the car's good. They said it's still a little bit off, so they need a bit more time. You can see that there. He's really working hard down in turn 1.
Dorsey, there's been a lot of talk about the competing brands of rubber being laid down on the track. Good year for the Sprint Cup and Nationwide Series stock cars. Continentals here in the Rolex Series.
Yeah, and you're coming across that rubber on the oval in the opposite direction to begin with and at an angle. It hasn't proven to be too much of a problem. We really were concerned about that early on, but everyone's handled it well.
Tony Kanaan there. Oh, quick spin for the 93 car.
Not in a good spot, right backwards in the middle of a straight.
Gary Grant behind the wheel this weekend. The Grant family have taken over the 93 car from Michael Marcel and Gunter Schaldag with Turner Motorsports.
It'll be interesting when we get these classes mixing it up like we are right now. The Daytona prototypes are quite a lot quicker. But when you get to this infield, there's just no grip, and you have to mind your manners with the other class.
Look at this. Rojas has closed in for the lead with Jordan Taylor. There we see the 38 car. That's the leader in the GX class this year.
These two have raced off into a battle of their own. They've opened a big gap, almost 4 seconds, over the third-placed Corvette of Christian Fittipaldi.
But looking at the lap times, these guys running 22.9 for our leader, 22.7 best time for Rojas. Tony Kanaan down in the 8th spot just ran a 22.8, so TK has the pace, but he's got to deal with that track position right now. Talking to the Ganassi boys, they said we ran really trim in qualifying. They added a tiny bit of downforce to the car for the race, mainly for tire management. When you come through this infield section, you start to hit the oval, some really high load corners, and the aggressiveness of the pavement there, Dorsey, really chews up the tires, so you got to be careful.
And with that new engine package, you're really dealing with a new car. You're talking about a car with completely different center of gravity. You got a 6th gear in there instead of a 5th gear. There's a lot going on there other than just learning an engine.
Lead change in GT. Robin Liddell in the Camaro, swoops to the inside, taking the lead from Boris Said in the Whelen Corvette. Another look at Grant. Is there contact?
No, I don't think so.
I think so, no.
Just pinch the corner a little bit on entry and try to get back on the gas pedal.
See it better here. I think he just literally, like you say, Calvin,
he's too shallow
he's offline,
there.
he's too shallow. Now he jumps on the throttle and breaks the back end loose. He was asking it to turn at the exit and apply throttle at the same time, and of course that just aggravates the back end.
Look at this Audi coming on strong. They're in the thick of the NAEC, that bonus structure over the 3 endurance races. They're in the thick of that points battle, and Albuquerque has a good run going. He's up to 2nd, starting to put the pressure on Robin Liddell.
I was going to mention that earlier too. Don't count that Audi out. That's one of the customer cars. That is a very potent vehicle.
They're just 6 points out of the lead and running for a $50,000 GT bonus in the North American Endurance Challenge, with 20 points to the class winners, 16 for 2nd and 12 to 3rd. To see how quickly the lead can change. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You see blue sky about half of the firmament. And off to the right, a layer of clouds. The weather forecasters assure us that rain is headed our way. The question is, will it arrive before this 3-hour race is complete?
On board here with Tony Kanaan in the 02 NTT data machine. Here we see the leaders dealing with traffic coming off the infield up onto the Indianapolis Speedway.
Boy, you got to be so careful right there. Those DP cars, 170 miles per hour, and the GT guys on the outside are loose.
We saw last year, Memo Rojas, who drives that 01 machine here today, got in a big problem there, Dorsey. Tried to squeeze between some GT traffic and the outside wall. Flipped the GT car, but got away with it.
Down the inside with slower traffic to the left. Not this time.
Rojas looks quick. He looks quick right now. He's got some pace.
Now here's another look at the start. Watch for that white car to jump out of line. That's the number 2 from Starworks Autosports.
He makes the pop before the green flag, which is definitely a violation.
Pop by Popoff.
Exactly what I was thinking.
And he got popped for it.
That's right. He'd been called to the pit lane for a drive-through.
And you'd think this is not that big a deal. Well, with the length of this pit lane here and as fast as they are, 40 seconds is the amount of time loss that you have just by driving down pit lane at that 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. Look at the length of that front straightaway. That's why you lose so much ground.
And remember, those guys that you're looking at have been on the full throttle for 26 seconds when they got there.
Let's get more on the 01 now with Brian.
You guys talk about the unknown of the weight and how it's going to affect the car. The other unknown, the fuel mileage. I talked to Peter Barron. He's running an old and a new BMW in each of his cars. He said it's going to get about 5 minutes less on fuel than the old model. Why? Well, they want to run it a little bit richer to make sure they take care of it. It's a bit of an unknown. But two, remember, it turns 8,200 RPM. The question is, will that lack of fuel mileage play an outcome in the race today?
So the 5-liter engine shifted at 7,000 revs. This new 4.5-liter shifts at 8,200 revs, but it does have one more gear. As we go 5 wide, 6 wide.
Oh, that was ugly. That was potentially very ugly.
It still is. We're not done yet.
Oh, look at
this.
Prototypes, a little rubbing there.
Kanaan rubbed all the way down through there, and that's
wow. What a move by Tony Kanaan. Tony Kanaan is now up to 4th position. He is a man on a move.
That's Ricky Taylor in the 90 Corvette.
You could tell by his smile in that interview that he was really, truly enjoying this experience.
Ricky Taylor was very disappointed with his qualifying run yesterday. I spoke to his teammate Richard Westbrook this morning. He said, we just got the setup completely wrong. We're going to be fine. Had a great start down in turn 1, gaining many positions to us.
The sides of these Daytona prototypes are very strong. You can bang along. What you don't want to do is hit wheel to wheel, but that was definitely just body work against body work. And that'll take the side plates off, little aero bits, but it's not going to hurt anything.
You can see Kanaan's now got into a rhythm. He's starting to pick these guys off. He's heading towards the front. And he has a lot of pace looking at his lap times.
Sister car to that number 90 was recently at the world-famous Goodwood Festival of Speed in England, where Ricky Taylor was among the drivers who took it up the famous hill to Lord March's estate.
Such a fantastic event.
No, that was fun.
It's on my bucket list.
Had a bunch of friends that went there this year, Bob Dodson, and actually, you know, a bunch of group of guys went there. They said never had so much fun in their life.
I can't imagine you and Bob Dodson there together.
Adam Burrows was with him, as a matter of fact.
Goodness. Talk about the Brat Pack. Ricky Taylor, Richard Westbrook, they need to turn their season around. Just one podium finish so far this year, and the races are getting away from them. They've had pace at times, but just can't seem to get things clicking yet.
On board with Gustavo Yakiman and one of the Michael Shank Racing Ford-powered Rileys, Yakiman has developed a bit of a reputation this year for aggressiveness and lack of patience. He is still on probation from some unnecessary contact earlier in the year.
Spoke to Mike Shank Racing and the whole group there, spoke to Oz Negri. And I said, what is the deal with Gus? He said, he's a really nice kid. Believe it or not, he's been dating my daughter. So
Whoa.
He's a great guy. He said, but you get him behind the wheel, he just needs to calm down just that little bit. We just got to tune him down a little bit, but he's listening. And certainly the last couple of races, we're seeing him cleaning up his act a little bit.
Does that mean the daughter drives on dates? I would think.
Well, it might have been helped to put him alongside the likes of A.J. Allmendinger and Justin Wilson, who will finish out the season with this team alongside Yakiman.
Well, I'm not sure if AJ's a calming influence because he's a bundle of energy, but I think Justin Wilson will certainly be a great attribute for Gustavo Yackerman to complete this season.
Back on board the 6. Quick flash of brake lights from the 90 up
Whoa,
ahead.
coming on
Whoa,
in.
whoa, whoa. Is
He's
that
in there deep. He's in there deep.
He got it done, though.
6 cars been quick all weekend, Bob.
You know what he's trying to
some
outrun, boys?
liquid on that camera, and
This is what he's trying to outrun. We got
boy.
weather coming.
The track is just about where you dot the I there in Indianapolis. Oh, we've got a car off. So one of the Action Express cars.
It's definitely the 5 or the 9s. 5 car.
This is huge.
Fittipaldi and Barbosa.
These are the leaders in the North American Endurance Championship, right? Christian Fittipaldi.
Go and see if you can you drive it, or no, you're buried, I see.
Team going for 3 straight victories, have a lot of momentum. Steam coming out of that radiator, Bob.
Got to watch that.
That left rear, that's
hurt.
crooked, that's hurt.
It is hurt because I saw when he spun the tires.
Wheels out, HQ.
Look at the tire tracks. A pirouette.
Or something like that.
When he spun the tires to get out, I saw that something was broke, but I didn't want to say
Yeah,
that.
you can see it. It's not at the right angle there inside the bodywork. This is huge because they have had so much momentum. They've got within 4 points of the championship lead on the back of a second at Detroit and then 2 consecutive victories.
He's talking about, he felt the drive shaft break on the radio. He said, I think I broke a drive shaft. I think he broke more than a drive shaft. It probably feels like that, but it looks like more of an upright situation to me.
First full course caution. See if we can see what happened.
Oh, it just snapped. Yeah, something broke for sure. Left rear upright broke, I would guess. Sent him into that spin. It broke first.
Wow, this is a shocker.
That's a shame.
That takes Action Express down to 1 car, the sister car, the 9, in the hands of Bert Frizzell, currently running 9th in class. We'll take a break. Like these fans enjoying the many berms around the racetrack, nothing but good sight lines at Indianapolis. Sunday, NASCAR hits the bricks as race day highlights the history of NASCAR at the Brickyard. Plus, we go one-on-one with Ricky as he weighs in on love in the fast lane with Danica. NASCAR race day, Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern, only on Speed. We're under a full course caution here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Rolex Brickyard Grand Prix. And as you see, a busy pit lane. Let's go to Chris Neville.
Yeah, just about everybody, all the Daytona prototype leaders coming in for fuel only. The 99 did take tires, and it looked like the Action Express number 9 also took tires.
Meanwhile, the sister car, the number 5, is making its way to the paddock where the team hopes to repair it now that they've got it out of the gravel track.
Spirit Daytona have leapfrogged around a bunch of cars there, so whether they short-filled a little bit to do this. It's like Rubens Barrichello has jumped out of the 77 machine. It's going to be Doug Peterson taking over. He's done a couple of Daytona 24-hour races in Daytona prototypes as well as some GT action, but not a ton of experience, Dorsey, in these cars.
Nope. Here's the number 5 limping its way back. He's crabbing his way back to the garage, actually. They've told him now to take it straight to the garage to work.
It's like a used car you once sold, Dorsey.
Yeah, I've driven cars like that before.
It looks like Christian is going to make it.
Significant here, I would believe that the 3 car and the 4 car would have done driver changes in those 2 cars. That was certainly their strategy. Starting this race is going to be Sebastian Bourdais behind the wheel of the 4 car if they did do a driver change.
And Stefan Sarazan in the 3.
That 3 car is coming off the back of 2 consecutive runner-up finishes, knocking on the door for that first victory for 8-Star Motorsports.
Here's a good look at our pace car for today's event, the brand new C7 Corvette Stingray. It is absolutely an awesome car.
I wonder if he won't just turn left and drive that on out of here tonight.
I would.
I love the front end design. It looks like a Ferrari to me. It's just got beautiful lines.
It's just got great lines, front to rear. To Darren Law.
Hey guys, I'm here with Brad Kettler, the Director of Operations for Audi Sport USA. You guys are having a great run. Cars have been fast. What are the plans for this year? Any more cars, and what are you looking at for next year?
Well, yeah, thanks, Darren. I mean, we're just trying to grow the market here. I mean, we're here racing our own car along with the Fall Line guys to try to help them with their setup and so forth. And we're just trying to show the strength of the car. It's a very good car. It's good for gentlemen guys. It's good for pros. And we're just trying to learn more about it and demonstrate the performance of the car for the series, so we can make sure we're in the right spot for the rules. And it's good for us to come out and be in the field and be part of it. I mean, our goal is to try to to try to sell next year maybe up to 6 of these cars in the series. I mean, that's a bit ambitious, but it looks like, you know, the momentum is gaining, and we're very excited about it.
Felipe's had a great run in the first part of the race here. He's up to second. The car looks fast. Has he reported back on any issues?
Yeah, he actually, we offered him some tires if he wanted to do it, if he thought he needed it, and he said no, he thought the car was perfect right now, and his focus was try to put the Camaro under pressure and just try to fill up his mirrors and see if he could get by him. Camaro's very, very fast on the straight line, and we got a long straightaway here, so it gives him a bit of an advantage, but Felipe's right on him on the brakes, so we're just we're going to keep doing that and just try to bring as much pressure as we can.
All right, guys, the Audis are on it. Back to you.
Well, certainly Brad Kettler is one of the good guys up and down pit lane. He's got so much experience now with Audi. He was actually the car chief on this year's winning car at Le Mans for Tom Christensen, Alan McNish, Luke Duval.
My goodness.
We all have these pictures that we really want to see burned. Well, we dug one up. Joe Vardy gave this to me at Watkins Glen, and that one on the left is our Brad with a bandana, and I love the belt. That's stylish.
Got the do-rag on. Brad runs his own shop. You know, he owned his own shop before he got the Audi thing, and worked on cars, German cars primarily.
That's John Wright in the middle, who's campaigning a Porsche here in today's race as well.
Was that a Daytona? That looked like the old trackside sheds they used to put up.
Looked like he needed a gun on that belt or something. I don't know what
needed a makeover.
We've got another break coming up, still under our first caution of the day here at the Brickyard Grand Prix, round 8 of the Rolex Sports Car Series for 2013. We'll be back in a moment. Back at Indianapolis, Sunday after the showdown at the Brickyard, turn on speed for the ultimate post-race coverage and celebrate with the winner. It's NASCAR Victory Lane, live from Indianapolis, Sunday right after the Cup race, only here on Speed. Lights are now out on the Corvette Stingray safety car. Dorsey, you mentioned that the driver might want to take this Corvette home. He might want to stay in there and race that puppy. 450 horsepower and a similar amount of torque.
Pierre Caff is going to lead this field back to green. He did not make a pit stop here, so he's leapfrogged to the front. We've got the two Taylor brothers, second and third, so I'd imagine a short fill for the 90 car to leapfrog around some. Let's see how this thing shake out. No, the 99 car took time. Many guys did not. Look at Rojas jumping to the inside.
Wow.
Good jump.
Got a nice wide racetrack using all of it.
This is a great view coming up through the infield.
Look at Sarazan looking to the inside, looking aggressive. You've got to be careful. Long race here is going to funnel down.
That's what you got to watch out for. You can go 3 or 4 wide, but it goes down to 2 here.
Look at this. This is Popov. We heard he had some fuel pressure issues. They seem to have rectified.
Apparently they want you a backup system on the fuel pump or something.
The newest member of the BMW family in the Daytona prototype ranks, Starworks Motorsports.
What are you hearing, Chris, on the 2?
Well, you guys were talking about the fuel pump issue there, and these cars have 4 fuel pumps in that cell, 2 main and 2 reserves. So one of those main pumps is out on the 2 car. Peter Barron says he's not concerned because over the course of a 24-hour race, they ran the majority of it on just one of the reserve pumps. So he's got 3 more to go. No concerns there.
Lots of fuel pumps. That's what you need.
Sliding in behind the number 9. No word on the progress on the 5 car from Action Express.
Spoke to Ryan Dial this morning. You know, we got a quick spin here. This is Stefan Sarazan.
Saw this out of the cut my eye, just by himself, gets on the throttle a little too hard.
Yeah, clips one of those billboards there, which shouldn't create too much damage to the car, but obviously lost several positions. Now he's buried in the GT traffic.
Like an airplane, all of the electrical systems on these cars are backed up by an identical electrical system. So if you have problems with ignition or fuel pumps or whatever, you just switch from the one side to the other.
Look at this, Kanaan on the Red Dragon down into the brake zone, side by side. 99 has fresh rubber, remember.
On board with Kanaan. First time this particular chassis has raced for Chip Ganassi's team since the Rolex 24 at Daytona.
And that being said, with the engine package, it's really a brand new package because with the center of gravity changed at the back, everything's changed. All your suspensions changed, everything.
Let's get more from the team principal himself. Here's Chris.
Well, Chip Ganassi not afraid to roll the dice, and Chip, that go to the new engine coming here to Indianapolis. How big of a risk was that when you came time to make that decision?
Well, you know, Brian, Steve Dinan did a great job in the past with when he brought a new engine. He does a lot of dyno testing there out on the West Coast, so he felt it was ready, and you know, we questioned it, but we'll see here. So far, so good.
Chip willing to do anything to get another win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, talking to the drivers here, they've been told, we want to win this race, do whatever it takes. So they've doubled up with the cars. They've got some stars behind the wheel, and they've got a new power plant, and it is looking good.
Steve Dinan, of course, is the BMW engine guru to go to. He, just like Brad Kettler we talked to about before about Audi, has had his own shop forever.
Look at Kanaan there,
Yeah,
tucked to the
good.
inside of the 99, coming off at turn 13 down this front straightaway.
Left of your screen, those are the gaps in the North American Endurance Championship. $100,000 to the top scoring team at the end of the day in Daytona Prototype. $50,000 in GT, $25,000 in the GX category.
Remember, the team at the top there, Bob, Action Express, have already lost one of the bullets in their gun. Either car can score, so if you have multiple car entries, any one of your cars can score points here today. That's essentially why Ganassi also not only want to win Indianapolis, they want to try and get that 100 grand as well.
And as we heard Jamie McMurray saying earlier, Chip thought about all the drivers in his stable when he considered crewing that 02 car on which you now ride.
Tony Kanaan going to be sharing the car with Joey Hand. He's had a busy month of racing, was over in Germany running the Norris Ring DTM race. A couple of weeks ago, he went from there to Canada, raced at Canada Tire Motorsports Park, then Indy, then he goes to Moscow next week. The 5 cars back out.
Boy, that was a quick fix.
Yeah, it just broke a link in the back, I'm sure, and it's not anything that's hard to fix, but it's just too bad. It's unfortunate that that let go.
They've got to
Christian
think big picture now, just get a few points on the board for the major championship that they're running for.
Good point. And it looks like they'll go another lap down as the field comes streaming by. Chris Neville.
Bob, you see Pierre Caffer up there. He did not come in and pit. That's how he got all that track position. Still cutting his teeth with this Daytona Prototype Racing. Got a 3rd at Watkins Glen. This is his first time at Indy. One thing he is doing right now, complaining about the gear ratio in that car. They made a change before the race, and at the end of this very long front straightaway, he's running out of top gear, getting into that rev limiter. So that car not getting up to the top speed that he'd like to, and he's starting to fade.
And you know what that is? It's the track is rubbered in. This racetrack doesn't get run on except one time a year. And when you get here, it was so slippery, it's horrible. You can't get any power down. It's getting grip now, and the speeds are getting higher, and now he doesn't have enough gear to run down the straight.
Yeah, they're going to be getting off this infield section, particularly turn 11, with a lot more speed and traction, and consequently that gives you a better run. Also, when he's running in the draft here behind Ricky Taylor, he's going to be cutting through the air a bit more efficiently and gaining a couple of miles an hour, and he's just on the wrong side of that rev limiter now, which may hurt him.
Surprised some of the teams didn't think about that, because the speeds always increase here the further you go into the weekend.
Not a ton of track time, about 2.5 hours before qualifying to get everything dialed in. Been a beautiful weekend here weather-wise, very cool conditions.
Bringing that up, of course, if it rains, you'll be okay again, won't he?
That's right, it'll be perfect. It'll actually be good. Look at this. He defends to the inside. Rojas was looking inside, goes to the outside.
See more of that before this is over. They'll get desperate.
I think they've got to be patient, though. When you got a fast race car, don't get too antsy. Don't get too aggressive right now.
Rubens Barrichello has climbed out of his 77. Darren Laws with him.
Rubens, you had a good first run, but you got out early. What's the strategy?
Well, the strategy is to give Doug a chance, see how he goes. We could have yellows more in the first half than on the later, so we're thinking to see how it goes, and then I'll get back on the car, hopefully quite soon.
Okay, thanks.
I noticed that Doran Racing patch on Rubens Barrichello's suit. Kevin Doran has been in this business a long time, prepared cars and crew chiefed for a lot of great drivers over the years, including Al Holbert, Derek Bell, Al Unser Jr., and so on. I'm sure Kevin is very proud to have a Formula One race winner in his uniform.
Yeah, and ironically, he has the most track experience of anyone racing here today.
That's a fact.
Raced in the Formula One event for 8 years straight. 4 podiums and a win for Ferrari back in 2002.
Let's go to Chris Neville.
Bob just checked in with Action Express as we saw the 5 car Christian Fittipaldi back out on the racetrack. The team said it was a wishbone in the left rear of that car braking. I said, is that anything from hopping the curbs or maybe the banking up in turns 1 and 2 up on the oval? And they said, we just didn't know. We didn't see for any real contact back there. Just had a failure.
We just saw Gustavo Jacquemin dive down the inside of Tony Kanaan. Mike Hull had tweeted that Tony had been on the radio saying that the 6 car was a little bit over-enthusiastic for this stage of the race. That's our man, Gus Jacquemin.
Who'd have figured?
Still driving the wheels off that car.
Salen's car, the 43, is spun, no damage.
Will Nonamaker
goes back and gets back on the racetrack and doesn't pick up any grass, so no harm, no foul.
These guys also campaign, and there's been a change at the front. Rojas has got the lead.
Ahead of Ricky Taylor and Pierre Caffer.
He's been really aggressive. Rojas has really been trying. It's a brand new engine package. I mean, there's going to be some screaming and yelling if this thing comes off its first win.
Well, they haven't done a lot of running with it. Chip said that Steve Dunn has done a bunch of dyno testing. It's really been on the slate for about 2 years. We discussed this motor with Steve back at Daytona 24 last year in 2012. It's taken this long to really go through all of the procedures that he wanted to see. He's got 16 hours of durability runs now, and he's very confident in running it for a sprint race.
Look at another look. Look at him working both sides and realizes he's got to go the wrong way. Steve Dynon would not let that off the dyno and onto this racetrack if it wasn't ready. I can tell you that. He is very thorough. He's got a great reputation.
And they had plans for a big test after our most recent race at Watkins Glen, New York, but they were blighted by rain for much of that test, so limited data. Memo Rojas leads. We'll take a break and return with more from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That was back in May here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway when Tony Kanaan achieved the dream of his young racing lifetime, winning the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Promised his son the Borg-Warner Trophy. I asked Tony if he'd handed it over yet. His son is with him here this weekend. Tony said, no, it's up to the folks at Borg-Warner. As soon as I get it, he gets it.
I'll tell you what, he had more people cheering for him for that win. I mean, that raised the ratings.
A lot of smiles.
Look at this, the back.
Couple of good nose-to-tail battles.
Yeah, look at this. Tony Kanaan down the inside of Ricky Taylor, not going to make it happen. He's cleared Gustavo Jacquemin. There's another great battle there in the background, Dorsey, between one of the Star Wars machines, the 2 car, and the Red Dragon.
Yeah, and John Fogerty ran him right to pit wall, I guarantee that. Didn't keep it from being passed, though.
Spoke to Ryan Dial this morning about adapting to this different power plant. He said, yeah, it's really tricky. You really just got to wind it out. You're using more gears, of course, with the 6-speed gearbox with the 4.5-liter BMW power plant in the 2. He said, Alex is a little bit more tricky. I mean, Alex Popov has shown so much speed, but he doesn't have the experience of a Ryan Dial to be able to deliver or deal with this curveball, Dorsey.
Well, in my estimation, this engine's going to be very good at any place you can keep it spooled up. It's running a lot more RPM. The 6-speed gearbox makes that easier to stay within the power band. This racetrack up on the front side of the straightaway, it should be strong, no doubt about that. There's going to be places it gets to, though, that I think it'll be a little bit harder, and one of those might be Elkhart Lake climbing the hills.
Here's Chris Neville with more on the Gainesco Red Dragon, number 99.
Yeah, Bob, just as we see John Fogerty starting to work his way back up onto the oval. We saw that team change 4 tires. We think John Fogerty would be moving towards the front, but the car a bit loose in that infield, not able to put the power down. And really, when you talk to these drivers, they say it's 2 very different racetracks. Up on the oval, a lot of grip, almost cheese grater type grip, but once you get down to that infield, just slipping and sliding. So even with those new tires, John Fogerty not able to put the power down well in the infield.
The team has been struggling this weekend. Once again, the teams did not test in preparation for this race at this track. They did last year before the inaugural running. Now, a few minutes ago, Doug Peterson, now in the 77, replacing Rubens Barrichello, had that moment with Stefan Sarazan.
That's that very same thing I was talking about, this huge arc into turn 1, and you don't realize you're going to come right down on somebody who's at the apex.
Yeah, but I think Doug really gave Stefan as much room as he could. I think Stefan was really deep on the brake stores. He didn't have it tucked right. He was kind of more in the middle of the road, so the two just came together there. They both tried to squeeze through there.
The A-pillars on these cars, you can't see out the sides very good. So, I mean, looking down, you're looking for your apex for turn 1. You don't see that car way out to the outside coming in there.
That's twice Sarazan has been around in the first 45 minutes of this race. There's Robin Liddell in the Stevenson Camaro. A moment ago, Felipe Albuquerque in that silver 24 Audi was right on him. That that battle has cooled a bit as Scott Pruitt prepares to relieve Memo Rojas.
Different strategies and how you want to divvy up this 3-hour race. Talking to the Ganassi mechanics this morning, they said Timmy Keene, our team manager, is talking about doing single stints. We saw the early yellow, so it's really going to be like a stint and a half for Memo. Maybe get Pruitt in and Memo back out there and maybe Pruitt again at the end. So you're risking a driver change going wrong. It'd be 3 driver changes to get through the course of this race.
Oops, the 77 is off in the grass. Doesn't look like he's hurt the car.
Yeah, I think the car's all right. Yeah, it looks good.
Fortunately, he skipped around that gravel track. So you get in one of those, you're not going anywhere. We've seen that earlier today in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race.
So we got, now he's by himself.
Just a little wide there.
You know, Calvin, these corners, it's very technical, this infield, because all these long corners, you have to be spot on. If you get behind in your first corner, it puts you even further behind for the second.
There's no grip there, Dorsey. That's the other problem. You're getting offline here. We see a little bit of an overflow going on there in that aqueduct.
Lever forward as a reverse lockout and hold it, and then downshift an additional time should give you reverse.
Kevin Durant explaining the gearbox. This is a sequential shifter, but you have a reverse lockout involved with that.
This is another problem when you have guys who are not familiar with these race cars. Suddenly you have a little problem like this. You don't know all of the procedures naturally. GT leader is in, Chris.
Yeah, Robin Liddell called the pit lane as Mike Johnson seeing that 77 car stuck out on the racetrack, thinking that we might get a caution, so he called Robin in as quick as possible. He's going to do 4 Continental tires and fuel on the stop. Robin Liddell staying behind the wheel, and I talked to Mike Johnson how the car was working. He said it's working great, but he's very concerned about the balance of that Audi behind him.
Full course caution right during this pit stop.
Beautiful call by Mike Johnson there. About 46 minutes on the clock, so that's the way to go. 31 team follows suit there in as well. Brian?
Some type of a penalty going on the 31, an official standing in front of the car. I'd spoken to Eric Kern earlier. Now he's released, so not a long penalty, and luckily it was under full course caution. It had just come out. 4 new Continental tires on the 31. They feel like they're a little slow down the straightaway, but Eric Kern said, I don't want to pull that wicker because I'm afraid that we'll end up making the car loose. We need a good balance on the car. Right now we have it. We just don't have the straight line speed we want.
Seems to be some confusion about the reason for that penalty to the 31.
Look like a stop plus 10-second hold for something. We'll probably get it figured out here.
Car's got a lot of pace.
Oh, trouble.
Executing.
Right rear, no tire.
Yeah, he's running on nothing. Air.
Seo Salazar is one of the drivers in that car. Had so much success here at the Indianapolis Speedway, including a podium finish.
Clarity now on the 31. The fueler went over the wall without shutting the visor on his helmet. There's Doug Peterson still trying to get the 77 backed up onto the racetrack.
Those are the aggravating little penalties that you get. You know, it's a totally avoidable situation.
Let's get more on the 18 situation now with that right rear tire down. Darren Law.
Yeah, guys, the 18 car came in with quite a bit of damage on the right-hand side. The door, the passenger door was bashed in. The rear fender was pushed so far into the wheel. They tried to roll it out, but they sent the thing onto the track with it still rubbing. So that's why you see the smoke. But he got hit, punctured the tire. That thing's going to be down for a while.
In addition to Eliseo Salazar, Eduardo Costával and Damien Faulkner of Ireland also driving.
Faulkner's really quick in one of these Porsches now, getting a lot of seat time in Porsches these days. So get this car fixed and get Damien behind the wheel. He'll be a factor at the end of this.
Eliseo Salazar, another driver with vast experience running the Indy 500. Now he too is traveling in a clockwise direction here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll be back in just a moment. How come they didn't let Brian drive? Did they check his license or something?
Too old. Seen him before.
Oh. In a moment,
hey guys.
Go ahead.
Dr. Jim Norman has some weird like banner sailing over here in the bleachers, and they want someone to film it.
Well, maybe we better see what it says first.
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
Daytona prototypes expected in the pit lane.
Stefan Sarazan's not having a good time of it. He's had a couple of spins. Looking at his lap times, he's about a second off, and this is a bullet behind the wheel in terms of Stefan's driving ability. So I'm not sure if they missed a little bit with the setup on the car. I know they're working hard on the low downforce configuration, but that is not the sort of pace that we expected out of the 3 car today. Bourdais and the other cars run a 22.8. Stefan's best at this point is a 23.9, so that's a huge difference for guys of the same
Getting some
caliber.
cloud cover too now, guys, as we're going into the latter part of the day. Also, that rain might be coming. The track temperature is going to drop. I wonder how much it's going to change these cars.
Daytona prototypes and the GT machinery pit on separate, distinct laps.
It's supposed to get downright cold here tonight, believe it or not.
Big change from a year ago.
Yeah.
Pruitt getting helmeted up, so maybe he'll take over in the 01. We understand from Mike Hull that the Tony Kanaan will stay behind the wheel of the 02. Here we go. Brian.
10 is in. Jordan Taylor stays behind the wheel of the 4 new Continental tires. He's very happy with the balance of this car. I haven't heard a peep on the radio other than the spotters giving him traffic reports, Chris.
Rojas out of the 01, Scott Pruitt in. This team has had the worst beginning of the summer in their history. No top 10 since the month of May. 4 tires fuel on the 01. Tony Kanaan staying in the 02. Also the 99. John Fogerty staying behind the wheel there. Just fuel on the 99, so the 99 leapfrogs everybody in pit lane.
Good stop for the Gainesco boys. There you see John Fogerty in the red number 99 Corvette making his way along.
Don't know if he's got the speed to stay there. It didn't look like he did earlier on unless they made some changes, or this track might be coming toward him. You never know.
They had the pole in 2012 here, Dorsey, but didn't seem to have the pace yesterday in the qualifying run. Led the session early, and we had a stoppage, but John was unable to really put the sort of times in that we always expect from him. He's our, you know, best pole sitter, has the best pole sitting record in Grand Am history, of course.
I believe the number is 26. He is the most prolific pole winner in series history.
Competition is so tough, and we're just talking about a few tenths here amongst the top 10 cars. That's all they were separated by.
Let's get more on the 3 car from 8 Star Motorsports now with Brian.
Calvin, you were questioning the setup on the 3 car because of Sarrazan's performance. I talked to Michael Valiente, and he said, well, there was contact on both of the situations where he spun, but you were talking about lap times. The thing that I found really odd, they had a wicker out for that change, a gurney lip that adds downforce. You add that to the back wing, it can add downforce or take downforce away depending on whether you make it taller or make it shorter. They were actually going to a shorter gurney or wicker on the back looking for straight line speed. So if Sarrazin was struggling with a loose race car, well, they just took some downforce out of the back end.
Wow, that surprises me. I spoke to Gary Neal, the team manager, this morning. He said, yeah, the car's still not quite there for us in low downforce trim, but if he had too much push, and Stefan doesn't like understeer, so if he's got too much understeer in the car, that may be why they're trimming it outdoors. So it'll give him some straightaway speed and give him better balance.
Also, believe it or not, if you have enough understeer, it will result in oversteer at the exit of the corner because you're offline and you got a lot of front end bind up, and then all of a sudden the back end breaks free, and it makes it look like oversteer when in fact it really is understeer.
It's got so much wheeling and trying to get back the power, it's going to switch ends on you.
Here come the GT cars, including the GX Mazda Skyactiv diesels. Looks like the Audi will reach its pit first. Darren Law awaits it.
Felipe Albuquerque's coming in, and he says the car is beautiful. They have no worries. They don't want to make any changes. He's going to actually stay in the car and run a second stint of this thing. So the only thing they're going to do is switch out for new Continentals, put in some fuel, and send them right back out.
Another DTM star, Motara. Both these guys run for Audi in the DTM Championship. Of course, American Joey Hand is over there. Been there for the last couple of years. So these guys do battle against each other on a regular basis. But 2 of Audi's superstars. Great to see them here in American competition.
To Chris Neville.
Well, we can see the 44 pit lane. John Potter handing off to Andy Lally. This team won this race last year. Good stop there. A little bit slow on the right rear tire. Also a little further down pit lane. The 94 back in for their second stop. Looks like it's a little bit of a long one trying to get Bill Auberlin behind the wheel because they were in just a little while ago and filled that car up. So it looks like very slow trying to get Auberlin strapped into the 94.
And you see the helmet of the official. There he is on the left. This team also being held. Brad Kettler taking the gloves off in the white shirt behind the pit wall.
This is more of an infraction as long as that
penalty. Well, fresh Continentals all around. Continental tire is the official tire of the Rolex Sports Car Series. There's AJ and TK, Oz Negri, and Stefan Sarrazin trying to explain what's wrong with his race car. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Brickyard Grand Prix, round 8 of the Rolex Sports Car Series for 2013 with Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Tell, Chris Neville, and Darren Law. I'm Bob Varsha. There's Brad Kettler on the left. Talking with the crew, they are still arguing over whether or not they were appropriately penalized during this pit stop. Count the crew members over the wall.
See there's 4 guys really doing servicing on the car. There's a fire extinguisher bottle. That man does not count. According to the rule book, I think that refueler counts as one of them. You can see there's a guy now hop back over the wall, out of the way.
See the official holding up 5 fingers.
Yeah, so they're saying there were 5 there at one point. And anytime you got a foot on the ground, that counts.
Let's go to Brian Till.
Gustavo Jacquemin out of the 6 at Michael Shank Racing. And Gustavo, great run here. I notice a lot of teams using spotters here. They can see the entire racetrack. How big of a help is that for you guys?
It's a really good help, and especially we have this race, ex-Indy 500 runner Alex Lloyd helping us out. So it's a good help. It helps you out with the GTs, tells you more or less when you're going to catch him, where you're going to catch him. So you're already thinking ahead, okay, how I'm going to pass the GTs, how I'm going to time this run. You know, in the end of the day, all these cars are so similar that the only way you can get past anyone is just getting a run when they make a mistake going through the GTs.
Well, good run for Michael Shank Racing right now. We're going to have to wait and see. Allmendinger behind the wheel. The Dinger in the 6. He should be fast.
We're looking at him now. Doing double duty this weekend is AJ, running in the Sprint Cup race on Sunday. Corvette Stingray pulls into the pit lane.
AJ was fast in practice, led a couple of the timesheets here this weekend, and we know what he can do. Every Daytona prototype race he's been in, he's led.
Here they come. Fogarty, Pruitt, Bourdais, Ricky Taylor, chased by brother Jordan Taylor, and then Brian Frizzell.
Oh, look at the shuffle at the back.
Oh, look at that. That's AJ Allmendinger. He's a little terrier already dancing on the brake pedal down to the inside of the 3 car. That's tight. Trading paint early. AJ Allmendinger.
Talk about that on every restart, how wide that entry is. You get 3 or 4 wide, but you have to work it out before you get down to that apex.
Now we're on board with AJ. I think he lost a little bit of grip there as he searched for X-Thing turn 2. He's got to clean those tires off a little bit.
Good point there, Calvin. It's pretty dirty to the outside now. We've had a race before this, and you get out there, you're going to pick up a lot of clag.
Finished 7th at the Indy 500, but he did lead for Roger Penske that day. Just love the boy's attitude. Spoke to Oz Negri about it. He said, AJ just brings so much energy to this team, and he really lightens the mood. Everyone's happy when AJ is underneath our awning.
He's led every time he's raced with these teams. Oh, there goes the 3 around again.
He might have got help.
Yeah, he did. What a stint for Stefan Sauzan. This is just one for the books.
You can sit there with AJ and watch him read that. He saw it all happening, and he just waited that moment. You have to read which way the car's going to go.
Brian said they made that wicker change, but I think that was just traffic and fighting with another car there, Gross.
Especially there in the infield. I mean, you don't got that much.
There's Enzo Potolicchio, the team owner.
He is working so hard, Bob, to really elevate this team to a winning combination. Pruitt didn't take long, did he?
No. Kind of figured that was going to happen. I don't think that the 99 has got the setup where it needs to be. And I'm suspecting that that Ganassi car is quicker than they might be showing.
As Lee Diffie liked to say, this won't take long, did it?
Yeah. Well, now, if you were, you know, the new engine and all that, would you show your hand if you had something really substantial on the first time out? No, I don't think you would. I think this car could be really good.
Their pace is strong, but it's not like out of the ballpark. They're only a 10th faster than a couple of the other guys out there. So now they've got fresh rubber on. The 99 car didn't take tires on that last stop, so and they've got a good setup. The cars look good all weekend long, and I think a lot of that is not just the power, Dorsey, but you mentioned in the opening of this show, it's a lot lighter. As soon as they strap this engine in the car at Watkins Glen, both Mamo and Pruitt said, boy, this has transformed the car without even changing the setup. It's just lower in the car, it's lighter weight. It really helps.
You drop that center of gravity, that's a huge plus. It's a better package, you know, it's not a better single thing, the engine. It's the 6-speed, it's the engine, it's the lower center of gravity, it's the lighter weight. The whole complete compromise situation.
We also know that next year, Bob, some of the regs are now starting to bleed through, and that 6 speeds are going to be allowed across the board for next year. It doesn't just need to be. The reason that that car is a 6-speed is because it's under 4.5 litre.
Right.
You run a bigger engine like the other guys, 5 litre, you only get 5 speed.
And talking with Steve Dinan, that'll go up next year. That'll go up to a 4.7 from a 4.5.
Yeah. Steve Dinan told us that's the reason BMW went with the 4.5 was because it gave them the 6th gear in the transmission.
The 3-car peeling to pit lane, so something's going on with that car. Here's Balzan. What a season these guys have had. Still hanging in the championship chase. They need a win for that Ferrari, though. Winless this year.
Absolutely unbelievable that the Ferrari's winless this year. I mean, they've got a good package. It's a good car. Balzan does a fantastic job driving. That car's been strong. Just hasn't got the victory lane.
Running 1-2 right now. I think some of that is just strategy. Ron Liddell is up to 3rd. There we go. The key is keeping this car on that lead lap. Fresh rubber. You get 6 sets of tires to manage that throughout the course of the weekend. If you do have a Truman Aiken driver on your driving squad, you get an extra set. So this team should take advantage of that with Enzo Podolicchio joining their driver squad. So it'll be 7 sets for the 3-car, along with some other teams that have a Pro-Am driver.
Chevy guys were really happy when they got the front row, when they had that Corvette and the Camaro up on the front row. They want to win this race in front of the NASCAR fans. You know that. Now, this is a special race. We keep saying it, but it is.
Truman Aiken stands for Jim Truman and Bob Aiken. 2 trophies named for great racers in their day, great team owners, and their trophies are awarded to the non-professional drivers in the Rolex Sports Car Series. The Jim Truman Award in the Daytona Prototype class and the Bob Aiken Award in the GT category.
Taylor brothers beating up on Bourdais. They got him trapped in the middle.
Got him sandwiched. Bourdais won here last year with Starworks and Alex Popoff in the inaugural race here at the Brickyard. And he's now joining this team for the remainder of the championship season. There's no conflict with his IndyCar program, so we're going to see Seabass driving in all of the remaining Grand Am races this year in the 4-car.
It's good to see him busy once again after a couple of seasons in Formula One without success. Kind of went on the wane for a while, but now he's back strongly.
It's great to see him on form now in the IndyCar Championship as well, Bob. He struggled a bit last year, and this past race he had a 2nd and a 3rd place finish at Toronto, so they've changed engineering program there, and really seems to be turning things around for him. He's a great driver.
I didn't know till I checked. He's got 2 victories in the Australian V8 Supercar Series, both at Surfers Paradise in successive years.
And that's a tough thing to do, to pop in on those boys and get a win.
Those guys race hard.
Yeah, it's a great championship. We were down there, covered one of those races where he won, Bob, and that's a brilliant championship. He ran with the AAA. Oh, problems here for one of the Mazdas.
Well, they were racing with each other, and then the 70 all of a sudden lays down. Now it's going again.
Yeah, the 70 was the leading car in the class, but Tom Long having problems.
Now he's up to speed again, it looked like.
Yeah, it looked like it shut off, and he got it going.
That's young Tristan Nunez in the 00 car.
Yeah, they were team cars, and they were running together, and all of a sudden just the 70 just laid down.
Tom Long got a surprise at our most recent race, the 6 hours at Watkins Glen, when this car broke. Yeah, the drive shaft actually popped up through the floor and whacked him in the leg.
That's a scary deal. I've had those drive shaft explosions are not good at all. Had one cut through Brian Simmel's car, came all the way up through his seat and cut through his driver's suit and a little bit of his underwear. That's getting close.
But none of his skin.
Nope, but it was right there.
That is lucky.
It was at Long Beach, as a matter of fact.
24 and 94 is Billy Johnson behind the wheels. Going to be 3 drivers behind the wheel of the 94 today. Billy Johnson, Bill Oberlin, and Paul Dallalana, of course, the regular drivers. Got Lally there in the mix.
7th, 8th, and 9th in GT.
This is going to be a good scrap right here. These cars are, and drivers, I should say, are top of the game.
Lally in that 44 Porsche. He and co-driver John Potter are the defending GT champions in the North American Endurance Championship. Trying to defend here today. To Brian Till.
Joey Hand back with Chip Ganassi this weekend, a BMW driver. And Joey, you've driven and you are driving in the American Le Mans Series, the DTM, and now back in a DP. How difficult is it to transition back and forth between the 3?
Well, luckily my dad started me doing it a long time ago. When I was racing go-karts, I did 13 classes a day, and I've been lucky to drive a lot of BMWs in the same weekend, sometimes Continental Challenge, sometimes DP, so I've got a lot of practice. But, there's definitely some differences, but good thing is I feel right at home in this DP car for some reason. This Chip Ganassi guys, this NTT data car, I did about 10 laps, and I felt pretty good in the car, so I think we're okay. I mean, it'll take me a few laps to get good and going, but I think we'll be all right. I mean,
Tony Kanon's doing a great job. He's a great teammate to have, and you know, it's always a pleasure to drive for this team, and I just want to do my part.
Pretty stellar driver lineup at Chip Ganassi, and of course, you wouldn't expect anything but.
Joey Hand, another of those drivers who races lots of different kinds of cars. I did a little fan Q&A this morning with a number of Porsche drivers at the Porsche Club Pavilion. Oh, we've got the 94 and the 24 have come together.
That's a shame. Two aggressive drivers.
Yep.
We'll have to wait and see the incident, but Billy Johnson doesn't give an inch, and we've seen Albuquerque not give much. We've been playing some argy-bargy on the opening lap at the 6 hours of the Glen, Dorsey, so he goes for it.
Well, they
Portuguese driver with a lot of talent.
Both got going again, and let's see what does happen. Billy going down the inside, deep.
When he gets spun and whacks the Audi.
He was going for a gap that I didn't really see.
I don't know where he was going to go from.
He's broken now.
Yeah, something's. We've seen this lately with the Turner cars. Oh, there's a left rear flat. If more than that,
suspension may be broken too.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of damage with the Turner cars lately. Things after wrecks break, if you get the full course caution going.
Our third of the race. To finish my point about the Porsche Club, we got a lot of questions about why drivers these days don't seem to race a lot of different cars. The fans love seeing guys cross over from one series to the next. And I'm in favor of it myself. Another break coming up as we are back under caution here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Approaching 1 hour and 46 minutes remaining in the race. Stay with us. Welcome back to Indy. Monday, the Hub delivers the ultimate race recap from Indianapolis. Our experts will break down all the mayhem and give you the latest breaking news and look ahead at the next round of the Cup Championship. Catch NASCAR Race Hub Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. Back on board the Corvette Stingray. Pit lane is open to Daytona prototypes, and here they come.
Could be some driver changes here, and I think maybe get to the finish now on just one more stop to wait and see how the strategy plays out.
John Fogerty will get out of the Gainesco Red Dragon. Alex Gurney will get in.
Looks like Kanaan is staying in the 02, Chris.
Yeah, that's right, Cal. The Ganassi cars came in fuel only, no tires on that. The Gainesco doing a driver change, fuel up there, and pretty interesting since we are doing all three classes at the same time down here. Some of these Daytona prototypes trying to get out as GT cars are coming in. Aaron?
Yeah, Alessandro Balzan just brought in the 63 car. He called over the radio and said the thing is really good. Again, another car that doesn't need a lot of changes. They're doing 4 tires and fuel, and they're putting Lee in. He'll finish the race. Lee told me after qualifying they had some issues with the shocks. After they made the changes, Alessandro said it's really nice. So Lee's going to run this car for the rest of the year. He's pretty excited.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he does. He had a brilliant second place run with AIM Autosport, the number 69 car at the Glen. That got the attention of Scuderia Corsa. They said the championship was getting hot. Jeff Westphal, I feel, did a great job in this car, but I think Lee's got a little bit more experience, and this team is visiting tracks for the very first time. I think Lee Keane will direct them in the right way.
I have to say, I like these pit stops a lot more when everybody pits. Of course, as we pointed out, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has a beautiful, long pit lane and plenty of room for everyone. There's the 70.
Yep, Skyactiv diesel that we saw have problems back in the pits and running.
Let's get more on the 90. Brian Till.
A lot of drivers staying in down here. The 10 car didn't come in at all, so Jordan Taylor still behind the wheel there. Ricky Taylor behind the wheel of the 90. It was just fill it with fuel, new Continental tires, and go down it. Michael Shank Racing, same thing. Oz Negre, AJ Allmendinger stayed behind the wheel of their cars. Negre on the radio saying, you've got to help me do something. I don't care. Take the gurney off the back. I have to have some straight line speed. They said, what about the balance? He said, I've got my sway bars to work with inside the cockpit, but you've got to help me go faster in a straight line.
Yeah, it's just hard to race, Brian, as you know, if you don't have the straightaway speed at a track like this. I mean, this racetrack is a real compromise in terms of the infield versus that front straightaway, Dorsey, but you said it. 26 seconds wide open. You got to have something for the boys there.
And the checker flag is on straightaway, not in the middle of the infield.
Under this caution, 3 cars were picked up out on track, all GTs, the 18, the 94, and the number 24 Audi. The sky's growing a little dark near the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, approaching the halfway point here at round 8 of the 2013 Rolex Sports Car Series. Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till, Darren Law, and Chris Neville. I'm Bob Varsha. The Corvette Stingray safety car is off, and the Daytona prototype field takes the green.
Good jump by Jordan Taylor, gets a good gap on Ryan Dial.
Taylor and Dial did not take the opportunity to pit under caution there, so they've got about 10 more laps on the board in terms of fuel. Here comes the pack into turn 1. Look at that lock up there.
Big time lock up. That's cold tires, what that is.
GT field is close behind.
On board with the 3 car. Sarazan trying to make something happen. There's the Red Dragon to the outside. Gurney now behind the wheel, taking over from Fogarty. Sarazan gives him no room. Little hip check there.
Trying to get inside the 9, doesn't make that happen yet.
See, you can hear him using the gearbox just to slow that car down.
Brian Frizzell in the car ahead has taken over for brother Bert.
Bert celebrating his 100th Grand Am start here today, which is quite an accomplishment. And the Frizzell boys have been fast this year. They haven't had the best of luck, but they've been on pace with the sister car that has been on a tear, winning a couple of races recently. Tony Kanaan stayed on board. I think a lot of reason we didn't see driver changes there. They didn't need much fuel, so you didn't want to lose time on pit lane by getting that driver change done. Joey Hand yet to see action here today.
Well, a short fuel like that, you'll lose time. Like you said, Calvin, makes no sense, whatever. Normally, you can get that driver change done before the fuel load, but if you're not putting full fuel in, it's not going to work that way.
Pick up the remote, hit the volume control. We'll do a lap on board this BMW Riley from Chip Ganassi Racing.
This engine really has a high engine note. They're not running a muffler on this engine like they did the 5-liter, so it is extremely loud. Look at Pruitt sideways, Dorsey.
Yeah, he stepped it out pretty good. 8,200 RPM is what you're listening to. And of course, the gear changes more often because of 6-speed, not 5.
About 150 miles an hour down here into the brake zone for turn 8. Down to 2nd gear. Remember, 6 speeds now in these Ganassi machines.
Well, Scott really aggressive on that switchback. Really just that transition left to right. He just
this is the key corner right here, Dorsey. Got to get off this one, turn 11.
And listen to this engine.
Flat out for 26 seconds.
That's a dyno pull. Look at Pruitt trying to get a draft off of Ricky Taylor. They're both to the inside, all the way down by pit lane. Pruitt pops out. Ricky's going to have a really narrow entry.
Brian Till has more on the Ganassi boys.
You don't think Chip Ganassi wants to win here? Mike Hull, just on the radio talking to Tony Kanaan, said, if you don't think you can get a run on your teammate, run behind him for the fuel mileage. We'll see if we can beat him that way. So, yeah, there's competition everywhere, including between the 0-1 and the 0-2.
So Mike Hull's looking over at Tim Keene, huh?
Yeah, that's good.
And that's what makes you great, is the competition within the team. You want to beat each other, and I think the fact that the 0-1 is really not in the championship hunt right now is going to allow both the 0-1 and the 0-2 go for victory here today in terms of the big picture. Remember, they're very much in the hunt for this North American Endurance Championship bonus here today.
Starting to use a lot of curbs on the infield. I noticed that. It was pretty tidy before, but it's getting closer toward the middle of the race, and they want to do something.
Just past halfway here at the Brickyard Grand Prix. Jordan Taylor, the leader in the Velocity Worldwide number 10 from Wayne Taylor Racing at the halfway point. There's Jordan.
Saw Pruitt running a half a width of the nose lower, and that's an aerodynamic advantage. That takes and gets some nose wind on the nose of that car.
Jordan's the Continental Tire halfway leader. Let's go to Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, we know Chip Ganassi has a drawer full of Rolex watches for all of the 24-hour races he's won, but he doesn't have one of these rings for winning the Brickyard Grand Prix. The only guy who has that, Peter Barron, for winning this race last year. You got to get the very first ring, and you're going for another one today. How cool is it to be the only owner of one of these rings?
It was a little hard to hear there, but no, winning the first ring and the first championship, the NEAC trophy, that was 75 pounds of bronze. And we're not out of that yet, but the ring is awesome, and I'm really excited we're going to win our second one today. The car's going good, but no, it is so cool that you come here, you kiss the bricks, it's a special thing. And this is one of the few tracks, whenever you win a race here, the owners get the ring, and it's a nice feeling.
What about this gamble that you guys have made? You were with a Ford Power going over to BMW now, and you're leading the championship.
It's a gamble, but we passed the first, the first GM car on track today. First time all year. So far, we're pretty happy.
Yeah, pretty happy with that choice. Also feeling pretty confident he's going to get another ring.
Yeah, and Peter's never been shy in taking a gamble, in whether in terms of his driver lineup or changes to the team. 10 car looking really strong. Just want to give a shout out to their engineer, Brian Pillar. His wife Stacy had their second child this week, baby boy Gabriel, so pretty pumped up about that. He said at Watkins Glen, even if it's not here yet, we're going to induce it. I got to be on that pit stand for Indy.
Oh man,
sorry honey, but
yeah, maybe I'll just stay in Indianapolis till you cool off. This is Andy Lally in the 44, defending champion team in the North American Endurance Championship. Madison Snow doing a great job in that similar Porsche GT3 Cup car, running second in GT.
Interesting story there for Madison Snow to be right behind Andy Lally. That is really good. Young man really learning his trade right now. They're learning that car as well. Have had some little problems trying to get that car up to speed. Right now he's behind the master. I mean, Andy Lally in that Porsche, you can learn a lot right there. We're impressed with Madison Snow.
He's really quick. He finished second in the IMSA GT3 Cup last year with 3 wins. He won the Gold Club in 2011 at the age of 15. So his family have certainly got him on the right track and shown tremendous ability at a very early stage of his career. Scuderia Corsa running a second car here this weekend for Kenny Wilden and Rod Randall. Good to see that, and they're going to actually campaign. That's with the team this morning after the drivers briefing. The intent is to run that car for the rest of the season. We may see Craig Stanton back behind the wheel for one race this year, and Kenny and Rod are going to run a few as well.
And they're running third in class right now. The 73, America's only Porsche factory driver. It's been a decade now since Patrick Long.
They've been quiet today, haven't they?
Watch out for them. This should be a good racetrack for the Porsche, you would think, this long straightaway.
It could be one of those sleepers just hanging back there waiting for the end. See the 6 on pit lane.
AJ Allmendinger had called in and said there was a problem with the car. I believe it was a flat right front. It didn't look like it was completely down, guys, but they got him in quickly, got 4 new Continentals on it, and he's back out.
It's a good burnout.
Hearing some radio communication from one of the Ganassi cars. We're not sure which one. They may have lost an alternator, Dorsey, so that could be a devastating blow to that team.
Yeah, alternator keeps the battery charged up, and these cars are quite electronic. They do require about 13.3 volts of energy to keep even.
Brian Till has more.
Well, you got to know your machine. They were talking to Tony Kanaan from the O2 moments ago saying, if your helmet blower is on, turn it off. Turn off the switch on the dashboard. Tony asked him to repeat the message and then said, I don't know what you're talking about. So he went back to running it, and that's a part of knowing a car that you don't drive on a regular basis. He doesn't know where all the switches are.
Well, you reduce the energy draw as much as you can. If you're running brake blowers, turn them off. Yep. If you're running an engine or a cooler for the helmet, turn that off. You're going to try to go as far as you can on this charge of the battery. There's 2 ways you can work on this. When they come in for the pit stop, they can put a new battery in. Usually that's lengthy, but not as lengthy as changing the alternator. That's even worse.
Do you think that battery will last for a fuel stint, 45 minutes?
If they turn everything off, they might, if it's got a big charge. But like I say, these electronic ignitions, these ECUs, the computer requires about 13.5 volts, and these alternators are providing that and more. So when they go out, if there's no charge whatsoever, it drains that 12-volt batteries really quick.
Tony said during the week that Timmy Keene sent him a full-page document just in terms of the steering wheel and the switch layout, so I'm sure he studied that, but in the heat of the battle, you're just trying to keep the car on the island and go quick, and maybe he's not hearing the guys clearly.
Well, I'm sure someone like Scott Pruitt or Memo Rojas, who knows these cars so well, can reach out without even looking and find the right switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Tony's going to have to look down for it.
You know where every switch is. And a switch like that, if it's the helmet blower, it's probably not with the main cluster because it's not an important priority switch. It's a switch that's only for driver comfort.
See the 6 car now just in front of the leaders. That's how much time you lose by coming down pit lane just for regular servicing, because you lose 40 seconds alone just by driving down the pit lane, let alone the service time. So A.J. Allmendinger is just staying on the lead lap right now, but with a very fast race car.
Lost a place down to 14th, but hanging on. Another break coming up. Cloud cover continues to build over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but 1 hour, 23 minutes remaining. Jordan Taylor leading the way. On August 3rd, NASCAR's toughest stare danger in the eyes as they tangle on the tricky triangle. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from Pocono, August 3rd, 12:30 Eastern, live on Speed. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 1 hour, 16 minutes and change remaining here in round 8 of the Rolex Sports Car Series for 2013. We are under our 4th full course caution of the event. Last year we saw 9 cautions in the race. Let's give you a look at what happened.
A bit of argy-bargy down in turns 1 and 2. You see the 2 AIM Autosport cars trying to go through there, and as Anthony Lazzaro gets into the side of Eric Carr and tips him around up to the axles in the gravel trap, he had to be pulled out. Here's another look at it. He's kind of halfway along there, tries to get out of it, gets up on the curb a little bit, and that forces him out wide and further into the side of Curran. So got EFR, Elliot Forbes Robinson, as our driver steward in terms of making calls on this sort of thing now. Let's take a look from on board. This is a good view, Dawes.
Yeah, really good view. You see as it comes in here to the outside, there's the curb, there's the hit to the side, and unfortunately, Eric didn't do that to himself.
The problem is you got to serve that penalty under green if you should get one, and it would be a stop and hold for 60, which is equivalent to a minute 40-second loss, which is a lap plus. So it's a huge, huge penalty if you do get that call against you. Not saying that it's deserved right now, but if you should get the call, it'll take you right out of the ball game.
Especially considering that Lazzaro's team, AIM Autosport Team FXDD with Ferrari, is 2nd in the North American Endurance Championship right now.
The other side of that coin is there's 3 cars in the same corner at the same time, and that never works. But I don't see a way that you could blame Eric for being where he was at.
Pits are open for all cars. This yellow flag comes just in time to help A.J. Allmendinger, Brian.
Oh, it helps him a lot. We talked about the flat that they thought he had earlier. Well, it turns out it probably wasn't a flat. They couldn't find any tire pressures being low on the 4 Continentals that came off. He's got 4 new skins on, and his report is the balance of the car is good. Mike Shank said on the radio it was probably just pickup. I'm sorry, we should have talked more about that. And kind of like Tony Kanaan in the 02, if you don't drive one of these cars a lot, you don't know what the pickup is like when you get it on the tires. When it picks up the old rubber from the racetrack, makes it feel like the tire's flat or out of balance. That's probably what caught AJ out. But this full course caution is going to help him. He got 4 new tires and full fuel, so he should move forward while many of the other Daytona prototypes come to pit lane.
Yeah, he's got a ton more fuel on board than the leaders, for example. He's got 20 more laps fuel on board as everyone hits pit lane. If AJ should come and top up, his would be just a very brief stop in the pit box, or he can stay out there and basically assume maybe the lead if everyone else comes. So look for a lot of leapfrogging here. Those 2 leaders have a lot more laps on the board, consequently a lot more fuel to go on board to top them up.
So maybe Dane Cameron stayed out in the 42 and Rubens Barrichello in the 77 to Brian Till.
Jordan Taylor finally climbing out of the 10. It'll be Max Angelelli taking back over. And like you said, it's going to be a long stop. They'll get the tires on, but they'll wait for fuel, and the 10 will be back underway, Chris.
Ryan DL, 2nd place coming into pit lane. They also switched over to this new BMW motor, a little bit more thirsty than some of the other motors down here up and down pit lane, so it's going to be a little bit longer stop. They're also thinking they're about 20 minutes short on fuel, and he's losing quite a few spots as they're doing 4 tires on the 2 car. Aaron.
Hey, Madison Snow just brought the car in 2nd place. Don't forget, this is a 17-year-old running with Andy Lally out there. I was talking with John Wright. and he said he believes a lot of the cars were setting the cars up soft for this hot weather. He actually went a bit stiffer, anticipating this kind of cloud cover, and hopes it's better for them and hopes Andrew Davis can take it to the finish.
Yeah, spoke to John Wright this morning. He's extremely happy with Madison's qualifying performance. He said, you know, I've got to take some of the blame. We went the wrong direction in practice, but we regrouped a little bit. He said, I'm just not running these cars every week. But this is a tremendous performance by John Wright and that whole group, particularly Madison. Snow doing a great job, now turning it over to Andrew Davis.
Watch your speed limit, boys.
Yeah, and then going by another car in the pit lane, the 70 in the GX class there.
I think he just let it. That's the GX, you know, the
Just
Mazda.
pulled aside and let him go
Yeah,
by?
I think he just let those guys go by, see him come. They're down quite a bit, and they're not in the same class.
On board with Joey Hand now behind the wheel of the 02. To Brian Till.
Tony Kanaan just talking right now to his engineers, and Mike Hull on the box doing a little bit of a debrief. And when we get a chance, we'll grab him. We're going to let him finish that right now. And, well, there, he's finished. All right, Tony. Spent a good hour and 45 minutes running the Indianapolis Motor Speedway backwards from what you're used to. The competition was great. Seems like you've adapted well to a Daytona prototype.
Oh, yeah, man. I can't thank the Entity Data Chip Ganassi guys enough for this. I was having a blast, and, you know, I didn't want to get out of the car. But a good battle with a lot of guys. It was a clean race for me, I have to say. And the car is pretty good, so we have a pretty good chance here. So I'm excited about, Joey. Joey has a lot of experience, and I think I can, you know, have a chance to maybe take my son to the podium today.
On that driver change, I know that there was a problem with the electrical system. They were talking about that earlier, getting everything turned off that you didn't need. Did they get a battery changed, or Joey has what you left him?
No, we changed the battery, so now he's good to go.
Joey's got a new battery and 4 new Continental tires. He should have a good car.
Notice the guy standing at the back of the tent there that you could always turn around and ask about how to get the most out of these cars. Juan Pablo Montoya has put in some epic stints for his boss Chip Ganassi in the Rolex Sports Car Series. We'll be back in a moment to Indy.
Welcome back to the second running of the Brickyard Grand Prix, and Juan Pablo Montoya down here watching the 01 and the 02. Last year, you got to drive in the 02 car, and I asked you then, do you like coming in and doing these sports car races? You kind of said, the boss makes me do it. Now this year, you're having to watch. Do you miss driving?
I'll be honest with you, yeah. When they told me initially that they're going to do it, I thought, I don't know if I want to do it. And when Briscoe broke his hand, I thought, I might get a chance here. To be honest with you, yesterday we were doing a Chevy event, and we were playing golf across the street. And when the practice started, it's like my attention was like, are we playing golf or are we watching this? You know, it changed. It was fun. You know, they're doing really well. Tony did a really good job, so it's pretty good fun.
All right, so you obviously are missing driving today. Does that mean we're going to see you back at the Rolex 24 next year?
It's up to the boss, not me.
All right, hopefully we see you there in January, bud.
Take away his golf clubs. That'd be a good start.
He just loves to race.
Yeah, he loves
I've known
to
him
race.
for a long time, though. He's just got so much passion and fire in his belly. It's great.
You heard him talk about Briscoe breaking his hand. Briscoe, of course, is Ryan Briscoe, who was hurt in an accident in an Indy car at Toronto a few weeks back.
He was scheduled to co-drive with Joey Hand here. Of course, he drove the NTT data entry at the Indy 500 for Chip Ganassi. See Michael Valiente finally taken over from Stefan Sarazan. We'll have to see what sort of pace he can have with this car. Hasn't been speedy here today, which is a big shock. This is a team that has been knocking on the door for victory and just seem to have missed something at this point. Maybe they've done some adjustments and could get Michael to the sharp end.
Cruising along in second gear. Currently shown in 11th place. There's A.J. Allmendinger staying out. He is up to third. We'll see what he can do as well.
He did come in and take fuel, so he's topped up and he's on the same strategy with everyone else and sits third in line. So finally Mike Shank Racing get a little bit of a break, Dorsey.
Yeah.
They need one. They've been so unlucky this year. Could have won at the Glen. Osnager was so close to Christian Fittipaldi when he had a little slip, and Oz went for a ride.
There's Anthony Lazzaro in the Ferrari. His contact with Eric Curran brought out this fourth yellow flag of the day. While we have a moment, let's go to Brian Till.
Jordan Taylor just climbed out of the 10 Velocity Worldwide Corvette. Jordan, all day long, Dorsey, Calvin been talking about the different strategies as far as downforce and where you want to be fast on this racetrack. you had a perfect seat. So what kind of downforce are you guys running? What's everybody else running out there?
Well, I won't tell you what I'm running, but I can tell you that we're very fast in the straight, so that'll give some answers. But there's definitely a wide variety of what guys chose. I think everyone went high downforce for qualifying, and then in the race, everyone kind of mixed it up. We're able to make passes on the front straight, but then we're kind of having to defend on the infield. So it's kind of a toss-up, but it makes for exciting racing.
It's give and take. Fashion is give and take as well. I noticed that you're growing the locks out a little bit. Are you trying to do the Dorsey Schrader mullet from the 70s and 80s?
It would be nice to replicate it. I mean, I tried to do something different than the mullet. I had it when I was young, so I'm happy to bring it back. But I got to pull a Scott Prix here and say hi to my mom at home. Happy birthday to Mark, and hi to Kristen, Gentry, and Jackson.
And his hair's looking great, guys.
Hairstyles go in circles, man. I'm telling you, it's time for the mullet again. I'm with him.
Why would Scott Pruitt say hi to Jordan Taylor's mom at home? Here's a look at the standings in the North American Endurance Championship. Accent Express has lost one car, the other car running deep in the field. Ganassi in position to pick it up. Now remember, the first place earns 20 points, second place 16. We had the potential for a tie between Ganassi and Action Express as things stand. Stevenson leading GT, BGB Motorsports not putting up a fight against Speed Source, who look likely to be the first winners in the GX class in the NAEC.
Well, Action Express lead that championship, and they lead that race. So we talked about the second bullet in the gun can count. Well, the Frizzell boys are doing a great job. They lead the field back to green here in a moment.
Boy, wouldn't that be something if the Frizzell boys, who've been somewhat eclipsed given the success of their teammates in the other car, second, first, and first in the last three races, Barbosa and Fittipaldi. But now the Frizzells step forward with a chance to give their team a shot at $100,000. Brian Frizzell in the 9 from Action Express. Max Angelelli in the 10. And Max the Axe is not one of those patient guys.
He's going to be going for it. These guys were teammates for SunTrust before. Here they go. Angelelli to the inside. Looks for the lead.
Clear, clear.
He's got it. Decisive move.
On board the number 6.
This is going to get wild and woolly here, boys.
Allmendinger makes a move.
He's looking.
He is looking. Good clean so far, but it gets tight here. It's going to funnel down. Frizzell has to give way. Allmendinger up to second. It is go time, boys.
Frizzell probably has not enough tire pressure or doesn't have enough grip in that car. He let those two passes happen pretty clean.
Joey Hand to the inside of Valiente. Takes position there.
Oh, this is a scrum here in the middle.
Now the infield straightaway. Heavy braking for the left-hander.
Looking, it's coming in.
Oh, he's tight, he's tight.
Contact.
He's turned him.
Oh, and that's going to hurt the car.
Yep.
That's going to hurt the car.
Going to have to be lucky to get away with that one. Was there damage to the right side of that O2 machine?
Have to watch.
Yeah, there's a problem.
I think he's feeling it out right now. He's just wiggling it back and forth. It's got grass and radiator cover, screen. He might have got lucky.
5 goes back by.
See some damage to the bodywork. There's a bit of a shake there on the rear end, it looks like.
Yeah, that was a hard hit. That secondary hit usually does damage.
Look at this.
Oh, boy.
60 car, Oz Negri.
All around the outside. Look at this move.
Oh. He said, give me something on the straightaway.
If he could have pulled that one off, it would have been something.
Dane Cameron in the red, yellow, and black Salins car just behind Negri.
Oz has been driving so good, so aggressive since he returned from his injury. You know, he wants this win.
Here's a look at what happened to Bobby. Joey Hand and the 5.
Gets to the inside there. Door was half open. Joey went for it. His bodywork flying.
I didn't see that the 3 got into the back of him.
The 3 was in there. That's where the bodywork came off of.
Remember, the 5 car is many laps down. Haven't had that suspension issue earlier.
Yeah, you know what? That big noise was the 3 hitting the back.
Hitting the
it wasn't,
5.
in fact, those 2 getting together.
Now we're on board the 3.
Right here.
Oh, he got into the back of the O2.
He got both of them.
Oh, man. João Barbosa in the 5.
That 3 car's jinxed today.
Wow.
Look at Allmendinger on the attack. Sits in second, going after Angelelli.
Well, I tell you what, if there is any doubt about the condition of your race car, as you go flying into that final corner,
That's a very good point, Bob.
Oh, my gosh.
As you come off that last corner, it's 170 mile per hour. And if you've got something underneath you that you don't know is rock solid, boy, that is a commitment.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's a high-speed corner. There's the same two cars that had the little argy-bargy. Joey seems to have been maintaining speed here, so we have to see if there's any damage to that car. Valiente runs behind him.
Looks like Joey's still feeling that car. He's wiggling it around just to make sure.
Here comes
Going on here with the
Pruitt.
01.
Why the 01 is so deep in the field.
Yeah, he just lost 15 seconds on that lap, Bob, so something went wrong there.
Too. He's either been around or been into it with someone.
The Ganassi team looking so strong all day long, and within the course of a couple of laps, they have lost huge track position here.
12 positions on that last lap, lost by Scott Pruitt in the 01.
He had to have been either turned himself around or been turned around.
142 on that last lap. He's in danger of going a lap down. GT battle. Andy Lally in the 44, Patrick Long in the 73, John Edwards in the 57 Stevenson Camaro.
Long looks quick.
Yeah, that's going to be a good run right there. Those three cars. I'll make it 4.
Throw Lee Keen into the mix in the Ferrari 458 Italian.
Make it 4.
Tell you what, they've run that 63 car, that Ferrari really soft though, so we watched that car in qualifying with Balzan behind the wheel, really leaning over. I spoke to him this morning, he said, yeah, there's just no grip on that infield. We're going really soft with the setup.
You see him transition from left to right, and it really, the amount of roll is unbelievable.
Now Joey Hand in the 02 will get a stop plus 60 for avoidable contact.
That's a lap.
That's a lap easy.
And that's a tough one because the car he was going around was several laps down, but Joey definitely stuffed it down the inside there.
You won't be happy with that.
Yeah, it wasn't a battle for position, but either way, turned a competitor around.
Back to the GT battle. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to the 01 from Ganassi in the hands of Scott Pruitt. Brian?
Well, I'd like to tell you, but I don't know completely because here's the deal. I just went down to check with the team, and here's what they said. He spun somewhere. We have 2 spotters up there, but they didn't say anything on the radio, so we don't really know. Somewhere in turn 7, Pruitt had a problem, and Tim Keen would like to know what the issue is as well.
I did a 360 one time and didn't get caught by anybody. Just went right around and just kept going like nothing happened. But it didn't cost me 17 seconds or 12 seconds either.
All Porsche battle up front in GT.
Yeah.
Chris Neville has more on the 44.
Well, I'm talking to Andy Lally earlier this weekend about leading this points championship. He said right now we need to be doing as well as we can because they look at that Stevenson Camaro as the car to beat. They were so far back in the championship early in the year, but they've been winning everything since. So he said at this track and at Kansas, they need to do the best they can because those are super high-speed racetracks, long straightaways, and that's where that Porsche is going to be dominant.
That's 2 of the best right there, Porsche drivers. Andy Lally, of course, and factory Porsche driver Pat Long. You're not going to get a better duo or matchup than that.
Patrick had quite the 24 hours of Le Mans, co-driving with Joe Foster and Patrick Dempsey and the Dempsey Del Piero Porsche. I'll never forget him getting out of the car to hand over to Dempsey. Of course, the media descended on the car to watch Patrick Dempsey get in the car. Patrick Long got out and started shoving the media around like a veteran race car driver.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That was fun. To Darren Law.
I just spoke with Joe LaJoy, the engineer for Patrick Long's car. He says Patrick's very happy with the car. They've got one more stop to make, and really it's a matter of strategy now on who makes that final stop first to get it to the end. So Patrick will run this to the finish, and they're hoping to bring home a win.
What a battle.
That's a good battle.
Both really savvy drivers, so much experience. Patrick getting really sideways there off that tight corner. So easy to light up these tires.
Asked Patrick Long this morning if he could believe he's been a Porsche factory driver for a decade. He just shook his head and said, not on earth. Okay, we're looking for Scott Pruitt's spin left to the screen. There he gets sideways.
By himself.
Yeah, sure enough. Nobody around him.
Count on one finger the amount of times he's done that in the last 10 years. So
all kinds of track position lost by the 01. He's already made up 1 spot, but he still runs 14th on the lead lap. Less than an hour remaining at the Rolex Brickyard Grand Prix. Stay with us. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, watching the renewed battle for the lead in GT. As you see, Patrick Long in the 73 is now ahead of Andy Lally in the 44. Meanwhile, Joey Hand is serving his stop and 60-second hold penalty for avoidable contact as the Ganassi Racing effort really has gone upside down. Here's the pass, Long on Lally.
And that's just a perfect draft up the straightaway, pops to the inside, it goes by clean. What's going to be neat about this is Andy Lally now will go to work on Pat Long.
Yeah, you can see
really
John
equal.
Edwards there in the third spot with the Chevy Camaro. He's coming under pressure now from Lee Keane. So that Ferrari is showing some pace here today. Didn't look that strong in qualifying, but it's come a little bit alive in race trim.
That's what's amazing. They've always been right there, but they've yet to win. You know, they've never been bad.
Let's hear from the leaders in the NAEC coming into the weekend. Chris Neville.
Well, all hopes for that $100,000 bonus rest on the shoulder of Brian Frizzell and brother Bert Frizzell, who's getting his 100th start here. Man, you still look like a kid, and it's been, what, 10 years? How are you still looking so young after 100 starts?
Yeah, well, I still feel like it's 30 starts. That's how young I feel, so it's great, but it has been 100. I'm pretty excited about it. My brother's out there doing a great job right now. We haven't had the pace we wanted today, but this team is awesome. Every time we pit, we jump forward, and I'm sure we'll do it at the end. They'll call it the right strategy. Hey, Dad, Mom at home, I know you guys wish you would have been here. Happy 100 for me and for you guys, and I'm glad to be part of this team.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are getting ready for this final stop right now. Is he going to have the car that could potentially get that bonus?
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is we still got a set of sticker tires left, so we're going to bolt those on, try to, get ready for a hard run to the finish, and we'll see what Brian can do.
Well, Calvin, I know you like working the numbers. These teams starting to set up for that final pit stop.
Yeah, I heard numbers of about 47 minutes for a full fuel run, so we're about 6 minutes shy of that. So then it'll just be a question of when the dominoes start to fall, Chris. But certainly the Frizzell boys have backed up a little bit in this run. They're now down into the 11th spot. Pruitt now right behind them in 12th. So that's really the battle for the North American Endurance Championship right there. But to get bonus points, you got to be in the top 4. So if they sit back there, they're going to score equal points here today, and that would give the championship to Action Express. So a lot to play out here, though, in the final 52 minutes. Oh, this is...
Oh, and he turns him.
Oh, that's AJ. The two car had gotten around for the lead. Dial had got to the lead. Angelelli was under pressure from Allmendinger and gets turned.
Yeah, he got drilled right in the door, too. I mean, that was a pretty blatant hit.
Okay, go again, Max.
I don't think that'll go unnoticed.
There's Wayne Taylor.
Wayne's not amused.
Angelelli back on it.
Yeah, that was a shame right there. I mean, I just caught it happening.
See one of the Action Express cars on pit lane. Sure which one. You saw that in the corner of the frame there. So Simon Hodgson just talking to Max. Just get back on it. Let's take a look at this.
Well, you just see it happening right there. We didn't see what led up to it.
Kind of late. Luckily that the Red Dragon missed them and the 60 car. Here we go. Yeah, it's just... It's a low percentage move, unfortunately. I mean, the door looks open, but you know that the car is eventually going to come down to the apex. Sometimes you can get away with it. This is out of turn 2, heading down into turn 3.
Yeah, I can't see any other way but to call fault with AJ there.
Yeah,
you see it on board here.
You've got to be consistent, and I think AFR is going to call it on him.
Yeah, so you got him right. You got him behind the rear tire, too.
Yeah, from that view, it really is damning.
Yeah, we're going to get a stop plus 60 on the 6th. We saw that coming. I mean, I think that's fair and justified.
Now on the lead, the two stalwarts, Ryan Dial. They are the defending champions in the North American Endurance Championship.
Well, what we get into is a similar scenario we had here last year. Remember when Montoya got into Dial, who were in the thick of the championship battle, turned him around. Remember, the 10 car are leading the championship. AJ's here on a one-off, trying to win Indy, not really in a points battle. And you get involved in the big picture, and that's the problem you can have when you bring in the ringers.
It's exactly like last year. You're right. I mean, these guys are for the win and the win only. And but this year, you know, Paul Walter and the way this year has gone, these penalties are you know, they're consistent. This is what happens if you take somebody around. Is you're going to get that stop and hold for 60.
Paul Walter is the race director.
And everybody's adjusted their driving habits to sort that, you know.
It's a tough one because if it is a close call, you know, you're losing a lap, which takes you completely out of the picture. Here's the pass for the lead. Watch the 2-car, Dial. Showing pace here with the BMW. Dives to the inside for the brake zone. Caught Angelelli unaware there.
That was pretty.
That was nice.
Nicely done.
But he got fully alongside by the time they got to the apex of the corner. There's the battle for second. Alex Gurney has it. Oz Negri wants it. We'll take a break. Back at Indianapolis, and I believe for the first time today, we're seeing green flag pit stops after a flurry of cautions throughout this 3-hour race. Now just under 48 minutes remaining. Let's get down to the pit action. Chris Neville.
57's in, 44 is in, and also 73 is in. All our GT leaders are in. They're going to take fuel and tires on the stop. Andy Lally trying to go 2 wins in a row at Indy. It looks like the 57, a good stop here. A little bit slow on the right side of that car. And Darren, what do you have down with the 73?
Well, it's a routine stop as far as tires and fuel, but just like Joe LaJoie, the engineer, was talking about, the key here is the first one to make this final stop. They know they can make it on fuel, so if they get out of the pits here first before Andy, they'll be happy with that.
Wasn't super smooth there on the Park Place entry, but they certainly beat the 44 car out of the box. It looks like Stevenson has got around the Magnus entry, so they leave up one's position.
To Brian Till.
Well, Max Angelelli was just in. Simon Hodgson trying to keep him calm on the radio after that contact that forced the spin on Angelelli. It was full fuel and obviously 4 new Continental tires because you want to make sure they weren't flat spotted. I looked further down pit road and both Mike Shank Racing entries were in. Allmendinger to serve his 60-second penalty, but for the 60 of Oz Negre, it was a stop, fuel only. They left the Continental tires on, and Mike Shank said when he left pit lane, Oz, I need a hero outlap, my friend.
Well, the tires would be hot, so that would be an advantage in terms of getting up to speed quickly, but certainly a gamble there for Mike Shank Racing, and everyone's starting to pit here. Fuel window is open. Chris is on the spot for our leader.
Yeah, and it's going to be just fuel for Ryan Dial. The car working very well. The team looking at the tires, making sure that the wear marks are where they want, and everybody kind of giving a thumbs up there. So just fuel on this car, but he is still hearing that alarm, or not hearing that alarm, but seeing that fuel pressure alarm every couple laps. Dorsey, is that something? Actually, we got issue down at the 01 right now, but Dorsey, tell us about that fuel alarm later.
90 on pit road just took fuel only, and Scott Pruitt in the 01. Fuel and tires, so some different strategies playing out. It'll be interesting to see. It's a long green flag run to the end. Will those Continental tires that have been on some of these Daytona prototypes hold up to the punishment all the way to the checkered?
Well, I think Pruitt's got a lot more work to do. He's further back in the pack, so I think he's going to need rubber to try and carve his way through the field. I'm sure that the team is hoping for a yellow, so everyone's stacked up and they'll have fresher rubber than the rest of the boys who just stopped and took fuel only.
Usually those fuel alarms are fuel pressure alarms, or they're not getting the fuel. Oh, we see right now 93 gets
Trouble
pushed
for
back.
another powerhouse team. That's right. We saw the 94 have its problems early on. Paul Dall'Anna now has the 94 back on track after repairs, and the 93 is going behind the wall.
Number 9, Red Dragon on pit lane. See if they can't tune that up a little bit.
Yeah, Dorsey, this car was not working well earlier in the day, but it has cooled off and the speeds have come up on the 99. Just going to do fuel on this stop, and the team got the broomstick out, so it's going to be a time stop here, getting fuel in here. Just waiting for those last drops of Sunoco fuel going into the 99, and then going to be a tap on the shoulder, and Alex Gurney away.
Wow, I don't know how much of a time stop you're going to be doing. I thought 47 minutes was the range, and they got 44 on the board, so you pretty much need a full fuel load, so hopefully they didn't cut it too fine.
Save a second or two, maybe.
Looked like they were looking down the road to try and leap ahead of someone, but that's definitely a gamble if they're cutting it that close.
Unless they think they might need tires before the end of the day, but you wouldn't think so. Darren Law.
To Chris's point, the weather's changed now. We've got, you know, it's getting darker. We're going to go, track temp's going to start dumping. It's going to start getting cooler out. And that rain we've talked about, still right close. It could happen anytime.
The light is definitely coming down. We've still got Almost 3/4 of an hour to go.
And it is very cool here at night. Like I said, tomorrow's supposed to be almost chilly. I think high in the 50s tomorrow. It'd be hard to believe in July.
Saw a shot of Brendan Hartley flash through the screen. He's our current DP leader. He's running a BMW power plant, but the old motor, the 5-liter. We're seeing a battle in GX here. Current championship leader, 38.
Black and green Porsche against the Mazda Sky Active.
Spencer Pompelli in the 38.
Mazda 6, the 00.
Joel Miller in the 00. That car was shown as in the garage at one point.
Yeah.
But the Mazda 6 turbo diesel is back out there again.
They go around the Audi, which is on new tires, not up to temp yet. Where are these two guys going?
Wow.
Two GX cars saying hi to each other because I guess they're bored.
Not sure what that was. But Pompelli goes away with the position. Actually, that's second behind class leader Sylvain Tremblay, whose company built these Mazda 6s. He is running first in a 3-car class. Another break coming up. Less than 43 minutes remaining in the Brickyard Grand Prix. We'll be back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in a moment. How about that view? Go to speed2.com to watch your favorite racing series live and on demand. Full races from series such as the DTM, the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, FIA F3, and the Ferrari Challenge. Go to speed2.com for all the details. There's the 77. Rubens Barrichello has taken the 77 back to the lead because this car, the 8, is making a green flag pit stop.
Yeah, Brendan Hartley doing his final job. This team taking tires, so they are going to leave up quite a bit of track position by coming to pit lane now. But it'll be interesting if we do get a caution. Is that going to be one of the quicker cars after that because they took tires?
I'll tell you who's going to get real aggressive here in a moment is Joey Hand, because he's right behind Rubens Barrichello, and if he gets around him, he will get back on the lead lap, which is going to be crucial to any hope they have. Need to get around Rubens and then catch a yellow.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Calvin, because it can happen. No question about it. If he gets by that one car, he's back in the game.
He's showing pace. He just ran a 22.4 a couple of laps ago, so despite the clout, the 02 car still has some pace, but he desperately needs to get back on the lead lap to stand a chance here.
There he goes.
Let's get you up to speed. Oz Negri, a rare mistake, overshooting the corner just that little bit.
Westy trying to take advantage of it. Watch this. Dane Cameron slices around both of them. Negri immediately responds down into turn 3, gives him a little love tap. Westy comes after them, and Bourdais is going to be in the mix here in a moment too.
That's as they run right now in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Negri, Westbrook, Cameron, and Bourdais.
Joey's back on the lead lap. Now he needs a huge break as the GT cars are pitting. Brian?
Anthony Lazzaro pits out of the lead in GT in the number 69. He shares with Emil Asentato. This team very pleased with the balance of the Ferraris, both the 69 and the 61 that they oversee. What they're not so pleased with is straight line speed. A very, very small wicker on the back to try to get him down the straightaway. But overall, the car handling well. They just wish it went a little faster.
Mechanic banging on the fender. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
As if you could feel that. You know? Who doesn't want to go fast? You're at Indy, you got to go fast.
See how he cycles out. Remember, it's going to come down to the wire for that North American Endurance Championship. This car's running strong. The 57 car that has the lead is running tough today.
Oh, traffic in front of Rubens here.
Here comes AJ. He served a penalty as well, so he and Joey Hand try to rebound from stop and hold.
Here he
Plus
comes.
60s.
Not this time.
Oh, just as Lazzaro exits the pit lane.
He's going to fight hard here with the 44 car. This is for position, I believe.
I think you're right.
Side by side here, waiting for those Continental tires to come up to temperature for Anthony Lazzaro.
44 gets the edge. But not by long. I agree with you, Calvin. I don't think those tires are anywhere near up to temperature yet. And it's cooling off considerably outside.
fresher rubber than some of these other GT cars that pitted about 10 minutes ago. That could be a factor here in the last 5 or 10 laps of this race.
Fall line Audi.
Going the wrong direction.
Quick spin there. Al Carter behind the wheel. He's pulling double duty here today, having had a very strong run in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race.
Stays as a local yellow, no full course caution. I don't think we'll get one. He should be able to turn it around. Just waiting on traffic to clear. There he goes.
I get a lot of grief on Twitter if I talk about the results from that race. I'm going to stay stum today.
Ooh, boy, that was a high-speed spin.
So he does a 360.5 by himself.
You can see the Continental Tire race from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway a week from tomorrow here on Speed. So check your local listings for that. Another break coming up, and we'll be back now, approaching 36 minutes remaining in the Brickyard Grand Prix. Busy day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rolex Sports Car Series, NASCAR Nationwide and Sprint Cup all in town. In addition to the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, it's a super weekend here in Indy. Pretty good ticket value, I'd say. Now, moments ago, you see the number 60 with Osnegri, grass covering the radiator inlets.
Sebastian Bourdais gets in deep, locks up the tire, goes off.
And he gets his own share of the local flora. Right above the splitter.
I wonder about that grass in the radiator inlet. Take a look at from this angle. Locks up, can't get turned. Through the grass he goes.
Comes back on just ahead of the 90 of Richard Restberg.
Now you just got to wonder about water temperature. Uh-oh.
The other Action Express car. And with this.
Yeah, but remember, the Ganassi boys have to get up into the top 4 positions, Bob, to really gain any ground on them.
That's why I stopped talking.
5th place and down gets the same, do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So you got to get in the top 4 to get the bonus points, really.
$100,000, and it's as though nobody wants to win it.
We'll take it.
Give it away.
Yeah, really, throw it up here.
Looks like they're looking at the left rear suspension back in that corner.
There's the battle for 7th. Scott Pruitt in the 01. Dane Cameron in the 42. Now more from the Star Works crowd. Here's Chris Neville.
Well, for a guy who is trying to win this race back-to-back years, Alex Popov looking very casual with about 32 minutes remaining. Alex, you guys are in great position to try and get your second win here.
Yeah, we're working hard. The team is doing a great job. I think we have a shot. Rubens is now in the lead. I think he have to come in for a splash, and we're now going to the end. We just have to manage the gap and hope nothing happens, and no more yellows. We just don't want more yellows and keep it going straight.
Well, Calvin, I know you're really good at the math up there, and I just asked Peter Barron, with everybody else dropping out of this North American Endurance Championship, where are you guys? He said, I don't know. This thing's so crazy, I can't do the math.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for that team, even if they win with the Action Express and the Ganassi boys having problems, they'll still finish 1 point behind. So the teams that are really in it to win it are the Action Express team, Ganassi, H-Star, and Wayne Taylor Racing. And as we've seen, all 4 of those teams are having drama today.
It's only $100 grand. You know, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Unless any of those teams can finish in the top 4, Action Express will maintain that lead at the end of the day, I believe.
Watching Ryan DL work through some GT traffic.
Boy, that spin for Max Angelelli was more than just dropping him down the field in the overall championship position. Wayne Taylor had an outside shot at this 100 grand here today as well. So long way to go, though. Lots to play for.
Board with Anthony Lazzaro, the Ferrari.
6th in class. Let's get more on the Action Express number 9 car we just saw with the rear deck off. Chris?
Bob, this team also dealing with a wishbone issue on that left rear corner. We saw that problem with the 5 car earlier, and now plaguing the 9 car. And Calvin and Dorsey, I know you guys are always paying attention to the mechanicals of these cars. Didn't we see that with the 90 car too earlier in the year, and didn't have something to do with where they're, how high they're running the rear end?
Yeah, that's right, Chris. When you try and run low downforce configuration, essentially what it does, it puts more angularity in that drive shaft, Dorsey, and that may be creating some issues for this suspension, particularly when it's loaded through that left corner onto the speedway here.
Yeah, that's a heavy load on that left corner. When you come up on there at 170 miles an hour, it's really pushing down that corner. And if you get the Heim joints at the end of those rod ends, if they get beyond their ability to rotate, then they bend at the threads and break off.
Yeah, that's a great point, Chris. The Spirit of Daytona team had a lot of drama with a very similar, well, the same car, essentially the Coyote Chevy last year, and they tried to run their car in low downforce configuration.
There's the race leader, Rubens Barrichello. Playing David to all the Goliath teams around them. Kevin Doran's little band are out here leading the Rolex Brickyard Grand Prix. What a story that would be if Rubens could take him to victory. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we say this all the time, but the television cameras make it look a lot brighter outside than it really is right now, with complete cloud cover over the speedway and the sunlight fading. It is getting darker by the minute.
GT leader Andrew Davis just had a big lockup getting down in turn 1, drug a tire, hopefully not flat spotted.
Darren Law has more on the GT class leader.
Well, I just got done talking with John Wright, and those guys are crossing their fingers. Right now, they believe they're about 2 laps shy. So they've got Andrew trying to conserve fuel. They're hoping for a yellow. They've got a decent gap on second place, but it's going to be tough for them to try and make it to the end.
Yeah, they're praying for a yellow, but it's still a brilliant performance by this team that does not compete on a regular basis, and hats off to that whole group and both drivers.
Gap is about 42 seconds.
Watch this. This has gone all wrong. Good skirmish here. Watch all these 4 cars. That's Sebastian Bourdais in the 4. Gets into Oz Negri, turns him. Negri goes around. It's not over with yet. Up ahead, the 44 does the evasive maneuver as the 90 was spun. Looking at the back, you see how it starts, but that's not all of it.
Oh, yeah. Westy went for a ride too.
Yep, he took him around.
Nice job by the 44 avoiding that melee. I can't recall a race with this much contact and spinning.
Andy Lally read that really well. I mean, there was 3 DP cars all spinning right there.
This infield configuration, though, Bob, just makes for this sort of argy-bargy because it's so tempting, and then the guy's going to come, and when you don't play nice, you're going to have contact, and you're going to get turned around. The worst thing is if you try and get out of the situation, you end up halfway down the door and you turn the guy.
Like I say, you got these big wide entries that just lure you in to go in side by side, but when it gets to the apex, somebody's got to give way. Usually it's too late by the time they figure out it's pinching in on them, and then they lift and it causes spin, like we just saw. A triple spin, actually. Westy got caught up, wasn't even his deal. Andy Lally, the only guy that read that right, I suppose, if you want to look at it that way.
This could be the ultimate battle for the win here right now, because these guys should be good on fuel, both Pat Long and Jeff Siegel. We believe that Andrew Davis is going to need some help in terms of a caution to get to the flag without stopping again for a top-up. So this could be the battle for the lead eventually that we're looking at right now. Ferrari, can they get that first win? Jeff Siegel on the hunt, looking for that Porsche in front of him. Pat Long, great job. Oh, and he slowed. What happened there? Long suddenly off power. Shouldn't be a fuel issue. Pitted just 15 laps ago, but something amiss with the Park Place Porsche.
Just pulled offline and just looked like he let it happen. But no, there is trouble there.
Yeah, he's having trouble getting back up to speed.
Oh, that's such a disappointment. It's been a brilliant run for both Patricks here today.
He lost a gear or something?
Yeah, he was pointing there. He's signaling out of the window, I think, to the cars behind that he is slowing.
Yeah, he's up high on the racetrack, out of everybody's way. He's probably playing around with switches in there right now, either ignition or fuel or both.
Yeah, he passed pit in, so he's going to stay out there and try to make the best of the situation.
Trying to driver diagnose right now, give some more information to the pits before they make a decision.
Okay, well, Ferrari may be on board right now. It's
Oh, he
looking
is
good.
slow. He's limping.
Though he looks pretty good there.
I wonder if he's trying to, maybe lost a middle gear. He's having to shift above or below it.
That could be too. I mean, if you blew out like a third gear and he's looking around that issue.
Jump through. That typically isn't going to last for 22 minutes, though, with bits floating around in the box, if that's the case.
Yeah, there's second gear in there. It's eating itself.
What do you think's happening with the 73, Darren? What are you hearing?
Just talking with Joe LaJoie, their head engineer, he said they're all scratching their heads. Patrick got stuck in third gear, couldn't get out of third, and was, you know, typical banging the gearbox, hitting the clutch, and all of a sudden everything worked and it's freed up again. So they're not sure what's going on, but he's running again.
Well, I picked the right gear anyway.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Sebastian Bourdais in the 4, who caused that melee back there, is going to get the typical stop and hold for 60 penalty. Puts him a lap down again, too.
Tell you what's happened, though, with all of this argy-bargy and spins. Pruitt is now up into the 4th spot, and that could be enough to give Ganassi the North American Endurance Championship. He's going to get bonus points for being in the top 4, and with both Action Express cars having difficulty, that could be enough.
Well, if the idea of the North American Endurance Championship was to make the longest races on the calendar lively, it has certainly succeeded here today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Stand by. We'll be back coming up on 20 minutes to go. Get ready for the one and only collector car auction that set the bar. Barrett Jackson live from its new home in Reno, Nevada. The most amazing cars all up for grabs, all in one place. Barrett Jackson Reno begins August 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. Somewhere there'll be a nice sunset tonight. Probably won't be the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, however, as we have total cloud cover and less than 19 minutes remaining here in round 8 of the Rolex Sports Car Series for 2013.
4 cars serving their penalty. The 77 car continues to lead. We've re-looked at this North American Endurance Championship. We believe Pruitt needs to get up to 3rd, but he may get that because Barrichello has got to be on fumes here shortly. He's really extending this stint to an extra couple of laps, and there's 18 minutes on the board, so that could hand the victory today to the 2 car, but it could get Pruitt up into the top 3 and get them the championship potentially.
No way Rubin's going to make it very much further. He's going to make it this lap or the next lap.
Yeah, I'd say within 2 or 3 laps is all he can do. Brian?
Well, if Troy Fliss has his way, the 0-1 won't be in there because he's arguing with the officials right now that in that melee when Bourdais got into Negre, are you ready to follow me?
Yep.
The 0-1 got into the 90. That's why the 90 spun. So they're wanting a penalty on the 0-1, which could once again completely change things up. You better get your pencil back out.
Yeah.
Pencil, we need a supercomputer.
Yeah,
as
we
the
didn't.
4 makes its way back out.
We didn't see the reason for the 90 spin, you know. Let's take a look at this. Well, this is how it started. We were looking at the 4 and 60.
I'm not sure we're going to see it from this angle. There was another angle we had.
It's right behind there. There goes the 90.
Yeah.
There's the 90. There's the 01.
He's already, I think Westy's already loose.
This one might show it right here.
He's already loose, I think. Yeah, he's loose.
Yeah.
Pruitt didn't get into him.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Here comes
But it
the
was a
4.
good try.
And it's going to come down to a tiebreaker, even if Pruitt gets up to 3rd, because I think they'll be tied with Action Express at 40 points. Then it'll come down to tiebreaker. They'll both have had a win. 01 car won at Daytona. Action Express won at Watkins Glen, so it could be the 3rd spot that Pruitt would get here today. Could be the tiebreaker in this whole deal.
Andrew Davis with trouble. He was off. I thought he was just
slower.
I thought he was moving over just to let the DPs by.
He's probably out of fuel.
He's limping, and he was leading.
Yep, Jeff Siegel goes by in the 61 Ferrari to take over the class lead. There he is.
That was the GT leader up until whatever happened, if it is fuel.
Well, he's got 34 laps on the board, which is about as far as they can go, so he may be coughing a bit. Ferrari, can they get that first win? Got the lead right now.
Here's the number 6.
Yeah, these guys needed a break. AJ, Joey, they're running really fast lap times, but they didn't get that yellow they were looking for.
A lot of guys were playing on that yellow, banking on it.
Look at the headlights glowing brighter and brighter as the light fails.
Like you say, Bob, it's much darker than that camera represents out there.
This is 5th, 6th, 7th. Negri, Hartley, Westbrook.
Hartley chasing down Negri. A lot fresher tires on that 8 machine. E2 getting used to a new power plant here today.
Ryan Till is standing by with Ferrari driver Max Pappas.
Max Pappas has stood on pit lane at Indy before, and Max, a win here, whether it's in an Indy car, a stock car, or a Rolex GT car, how special would that be? I'm not going to give it to you yet because I don't want bad luck coming your way.
Right now we're just focusing on doing the best job we can, and Ian Willis and the team here in the pit stop did a great job. You know, we're maximizing what we have in our Ferrari. Still 16 minutes to go, but we are executing really well, so I'm gonna think about it later on, you know, but right now just execute, stay focused, focus, and Jeff is doing a really good job in the car, so.
You told me this Ferrari is good on long green flag runs. We've had a pretty good one for a while here.
I think that I hope that it stays green all the way because that's the strength of our Ferrari. So, you know, come and talk to me later. Guys, Matteo, Marco, Tati, I love you. Miss you.
This could be quite a day for Ferrari. There are 4 Ferraris in the top 6 positions in GT right now. Time for another break. Less than 15 minutes remaining at the Brickyard Grand Prix. Who's going to win? Who's going to take home the big check? We'll be finding out shortly. Back at Indianapolis, the 10 car is in with damage, Brian.
Bobby white-walled the wall coming onto the front straightaway, and big mark on the wall. More importantly, a lot of damage to the left side of the car. You see how the wheel's been actually just kind of ground away, and there's a lot of metal shavings sitting there. The problem is what you can't see. Crew going to work to try to figure out if they can tell if the suspension is bent. And a lot of times when you have one of those pancake hits, they'll take the drive shaft and push it into the gearbox and create internal problems. What you don't want around this very high-speed racetrack is a problem that you don't see. So wisely enough, crew's going to go to work, and they're saying something's bent in the back. I can't quite get in there to see it, but it could be day done for the 10.
Yeah, you can tell from that left rear wheel that it pancaked so hard on that wall, Brian, like you talked about. It's shoved everything inward toward that gearbox.
This is incredible. Barrichello was working his 40th lap, and everyone told me in the paddock this morning about 37 laps is as far as you can go. So
I'm saying last time he was 38, he'll be in this lap. Now he's on 30, now he's working 40.
Evan Doran has performed some magic here today.
He is. He's come up with something.
I'll tell you, one yellow could have done it for him, but another 10 minutes, it's going to be unbelievable.
Let's check the gap from first to second as Rubens heads for the infield. Here's the second place car, the number 2 for Starwork.
Boy, oh boy, that's amazing. 40 laps. I mean, that's pushing, you know, he's wanting a yellow, but he's not going to get one. He's going to have to come in.
Less than 10.5 minutes now. The 01 operating behind the 69.
Makes way clean through. Yeah, no problem with that. Should be.
This morning, watching the mechanics work on these cars when they were all shiny and new looking, they put a nose on the 01 with headlights on it. And I thought, well, are we really going to need headlights? Yes, we are.
And they're on.
Yep.
Yeah, you never knew about the rain either. Had we gotten the rain and we dodged that bullet, it would have been even darker yet at this point in the time of the day. Yeah, that rain has just skirted us. It's been all around, but not there.
Now the 73 is in.
Here
comes Barrichello.
This is it, and this could be the moment that Hans Ganassi, this North American Endurance Champion, was still working because it's so tight. It's going to come down to a tiebreaker, but what a tremendous run by Kevin Doran and his whole group as the 2-car flashes by the stripe. Popoff looking for his second victory here at Indy as Rubens Barrichello hits pit lane.
You're going to get your tires or not?
No, there's only going to be 6 laps left. Need 3 gallons of fuel. So
Aaron Law.
Yeah, guys, Kevin Dorn told me there's no way they're going to make it, but they could make it to about 10 laps from the end. So they stretched as far as they could, hope for a yellow. Obviously, they're just taking fuel. But the thing that's really impressive to me, Rubens, having never driven these DP cars, doing 40 laps. You guys, those things are hot. They're very hot. And to never have driven them, I bet you he's going to be worked at the end of this thing.
Yeah, it's a brilliant performance. Really fun to watch.
It is. It's cool to watch, and if he could have won it, it'd have been really neat. But I mean, he put in a huge effort today. No?
Yeah, some tremendous stints.
A lot of talk about that new BMW power plant. That is in this number 2 car as well, remember, boys. So could be a brilliant debut for BMW Power.
One more break before the checkered flag. Sure to join us on the other side as we take you to the end and beyond. Will it be Ryan Dial and his new BMW motor going to victory? Find out in a few minutes. The answer to the $100,000 question is rapidly approaching. This is the battle for second at Daytona Prototype. Alex Gurney in the red number 99 trying to hold off Scott Pruitt in the 01 Telcel car from Chip Ganassi Racing.
This has to be managed, boys. I mean, how much does Pruitt want to force the issue on Gurney? He's got just straightaway speed to blow by him is one thing, but remember that 100 grand is on the line too.
If he should be able to win or get by, that would be 1-2 for the new engine for BMW. And you don't think there's going to be some whining about that?
Outside. Still there.
He's got him. Clean and
Clear,
easy.
clear.
It's been a great rebound performance by Scott Pruitt after that spin. Wasn't assisted there. He's dug deep and done a great job.
As befits a guy with a long roster of championships and race victories in different machinery.
Fastest lap of the race at a 22.1 for Scott Pruitt.
There's the race leader, Ryan Dial, with the Star Works team.
You talk about rolling the dice. Here comes Pruitt. He's not that far behind.
No, but he does nothing. You know, he's got to look at the big picture. There's a $100,000 bill sitting out there.
Yeah.
BMW's got this victory either way.
I think Chip Ganassi and Timmy Keene have got to make that call too. Do you want to just sit and settle, or do you want to just keep pushing hard and go for that overall victory? I think I know what Chip Ganassi wants. He wants a win here today at Indy.
Sure.
He's had one in IndyCar. He's had one in NASCAR. He wants this Grand Am win too.
I'll go with you on that. 5 minutes.
There's the gap. He holds on to win. Ryan Dial and co-driver Alex Popov will move to the lead in the Drivers' Championship for the full season in Daytona Prototype.
Well, you're hearing on the 2, Chris. The gap is coming down.
Well, they're in a good position. I think right now Ryan Dial just managing that. And Bob, like you said, both Alex Popov and Ryan Dial will have sole possession of this championship lead. And I spoke to Ryan earlier in the weekend about last year because he was in a great spot for the championship last year until one Pablo Montoya got into him here. And he said that really got in his head. When he got to Montreal, he felt like he really had to charge hard. He made the mistake at Montreal, got into the 10 car. He said, this year, I'm looking at it very differently. I've matured a lot, and I realize we're in a great spot right now. We really just need to be patient and execute and try and have this championship come to us.
Ryan Dial is not going to be an easy guy to pass once, and if Scott Pruitt could get to him, but I really don't think without a mistake made by by Ryan, that you could make up that much deficit with only just 4 minutes.
Last time, Timmy Keene giving the information to Scott Pruitt. Last time by, he was a 1.5 seconds quicker than Ryan Dial. We'll see what they time out at this lap.
The gap was 7 seconds last time by. Here come the new numbers.
5.4, so he takes another 1.5 seconds out of that lead.
But he only has a lap or 2 to go.
I think it'll be 3 laps, Dorsey, maybe. I think they're going to get to the line and they're not going to do a 3rd lap. So if he does a 1.5 seconds for 3 laps, he's going to be a second shy, but he's cutting into it big time.
You don't know what Dial's doing either. You don't know if he's running at full potential. He will be shortly.
He will be shortly. Peter Barron will be on the horn. Either way, it's been a brilliant debut for this BMW power plant.
Who would have
by
guessed
Steve
that?
Dinan.
You know, that's an amazing debut.
Rubens Barrichello, Dorsey, despite that pit stop, still holds down a 5th place spot. And think about it, they went down a lap. Doug Peterson had that spin, had to be yanked out of the gravel trap. That is a great performance by that team.
It's just cool to have Rubens here, don't you think? I mean, I think that's just the neatest deal, and for him to run well.
Should be fantastic.
That's Pappas looking on. His teammate Jeff Siegel leads GT right there.
They have tried so hard this year to get that Ferrari to winner's circle. It's just astounding it hasn't happened, because like I said, they've never been bad.
It's a shame for Park Place Motorsports having that problem with the 73 cars. I think the victory here today was theirs, but all credit to the AIM team. They're coming through. Rainbow Ferry is not here this weekend. I'm sure he's watching or listening somehow. I know that his car is out front right now.
2 to go.
Just beat the checkered flag to make another lap.
Last lap by Ryan Dalziel did respond to 22.8 to Pruitt's 23.3. The gap is back up to 5.8.
Yeah, I figured he was.
So that's a message.
Yeah, I think he was just riding. Now, if Pruitt's going to make something out of it, he's got some left in the gun there.
You don't want it to get around to that 2-3 second margin, because suddenly you get traffic. Then you got to take some risks. 5-6 seconds. You can bide your time a little bit if you catch the traffic in the wrong spot.
Waste no time.
Now he got the message.
It's going to one of the Salem cars, because Pruitt is coming.
Big day for this team, though, with the 10 car having drama hitting the wall. They've plummeted down the order here, and they were tied coming in with this 2 team. So not only a huge victory potentially here on the final lap at Indy, but also the championship points.
White flags out. Don't know what traffic might do to this deficit.
This will be the 106th and final lap.
4.5 across the stripe on the last lap. Pruitt takes the 2.5 back.
White flag, white flag.
Ah, they're getting ready to have a big time.
Look at Max.
Yeah,
he was here with Alex Zanardi celebrating their buddy Tony Kanan's victory here at the Indy 500 just a couple of months ago. So how cool would it be for Mad Max to get on the kiss the bricks here tonight?
He's been doing this for a long time. Is a little bit superstitious, he'll admit. You see him very, very nervous.
It's looking good, DL here. Look at these.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you never count your chickens, you know. There's a half a lap to go or a lap to go, and anything can happen. So I know Max is superstitious. He'll be holding his breath.
One more time, back up onto the big oval track. Through oval turn 1 and to the line. A year ago, Starworks won. And they win again.
Can you believe that?
What a debut for the new engine from BMW.
Thank you so much, guys. Past couple of weeks.
There's a lot of work that team went through to get that BMW engine in that machine.
To the line comes reigning GT Class co-champion Jeff Siegel, paired with Max Pappas.
Winner, chicken dinner. Awesome job, guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
I don't know about dinner, but you're a winner at Indianapolis.
It could be a steak dinner. I don't know about that chicken dinner.
Wow. What a way to get that first victory of the year at the big one, at Indy, at the Brickyard.
Big win for Ferrari.
Think they're happy?
Oh, yeah. And here is the 70, Sylvain Tremblay, driving his own creation home to the victory in the GX category. To your point about Starworks, team owner Peter Barron and his driver Ryan Dalziel were on my plane flying into Indianapolis. They had so many questions in their own mind about how their car would perform. Well, now we know. Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, time now for our Royal Purple Outperformer of the race. And our selection is the 01 from Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates. At this moment of the race, when Scott Pruitt, knowing his team had to reach the podium to clinch the North American Endurance Championship, managed to work his way past the Gainsco 99 of Alex Gurney to move up into second place and put away the title. Now let's get down to Chris Neville.
Bob, you look at drivers like John Fogerty, Alex Gurney, Ryan DL, one of those drivers trying to come through the open wheel ranks, hoping to win at Indy someday. Well, for whatever reason, their careers went into sports car racing, and he's won here in sports car racing. Ryan, great drive. You and I talked yesterday about what it's going to take to close out this championship, keep this team up top. You said just execute and no mistakes. That's what you did today.
Yeah, just perfect. I said to the guys in the radio, I don't know who should we kiss first. I'm going to kiss the crew before I think you kiss the bricks, but just an outstanding job. I mean, 7 days to build this car. BMW Dyna Power. Just so happy that they're on board, and we're just missing a little bit. We knew we had a great car. We still have a great car. Alex has just been phenomenal this year, and we're ready to win this championship, man. I'm ready to do this.
Alex, last year you did this with Sebastian Bourdais. You get to kiss the bricks 2 years in a row. Could you ever imagine that?
Amazing. No, we came here knowing we had a good car, and now with BMW Power, they did an awesome job. Now we have a car to fight for the championship. Now we are back in the lead, in the whole lead alone, but we're going for the championship here, and now everybody have to count on us because we're going for it.
Yeah, they've got this championship lead, and they got their first win of the year. Brian?
Well, another team that gets their first win of the year, R Ferry Motorsport, AIM. Max, we talked a little bit earlier, and now I can say congratulations. I didn't want to wish you bad luck earlier by talking before the checkered flag came out. How special is it for you? Ferrari's done so much for you in your career, and now to be with you at a victory at Indianapolis, how special is that?
I mean, to give the first win of the season to Ferrari and do it here in Indianapolis and give it the win to Remo Ferri Racing, we couldn't ask more. You know, Jeff and all the team did a great job. You know, we really won it as a team. And, I mean, guys, we won Indianapolis. We had to choose one, which is the best, and so proud.
And, Jeff, I mean, to come out of that corner the last time, I mean, obviously you guys had a good car all day long, and you were in a good position towards the end, but when it became real, when you saw the checkered flag coming down the straightaway at Indianapolis, what did that mean?
I think I asked 2 or 3 times in the last lap, are you sure we're in first place? I was waiting for the hiccup. I was waiting for the catch, but there's no catch. We won. We won at Indianapolis. We won for Ferrari. We won for Remo Ferri. It's fantastic. Fantastic feeling.
Congratulations, guys. Let's go to Darren with the winners in GX.
Sylvain, as we said at the start of this race, this is amazing that a diesel is here. It hasn't been run here since 1952. So when you got out, I said, hey, how was the run? It looked flawless, but it wasn't, right?
It was anything but that. Obviously, we had a job to do, and then just really, really proud of Mazda and Sky Active today. And, you try to help some of the guys, with their races because we're a little further back in the pack, and you try to drive on marbles. And, I mean, I almost kissed the concrete. I came here to kiss the bricks, not the concrete. So real proud of Sky Active, real proud of Mazda, and I think it's our 5th win in a row, 2nd one for us. I'm proud to get Tom and the whole team here at Indy.
Tom, great run, man. You won it from the pole. Car was good.
Yeah, it was really good. Mazda 6 Sky Active Diesel was awesome today. Like Sylvain said, we had some things we overcame today, but we brought it home, and couldn't be happier to be here at Indy with the win.
All right, guys, they put that Mazda Diesel in the record books.
Congratulations to all the winners. Here's a look at the unofficial standings in Daytona Prototype.
Well, we talk about it. They get the win, they get the North American Endurance Championship, and they get the lead in the championship. It is unbelievable day for those boys. Popoff DL, Peter Barron and the group took a gamble and it paid off, Dorsey.
Boy, did it, though. That's for sure.
Popoff's 2nd career victory in Daytona Prototype. The first here at Indy last year. That's classy.
How tight it is in GT. John Potter, Andy Lally, 4-point lead. That's all.
And time now for an old Indianapolis tradition. The winners kiss the yard of bricks. You see that picture here and there around the racing world. This is better than anything we could have told you about how important it is to a racer to win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Look at Mad Max. We'll be back in a moment to crown our North American Endurance champions. Back at Indianapolis, here are the final standings in the North American Endurance Championship. Congratulations to Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates, the winners in DP, Stevenson Motorsports in GT, and Speed Source in GX. Now let's get back down to victory lane. Chris Neville standing by with Mazda's John Doonan.
Yeah, Bob, down here at the base of the pagoda with John Doonan, Director of Motorsports for Mazda North America. And John, you've got a great presentation, a great trophy, and a big check for Chip Ganassi.
That's right, Chris. 2013 marks the second year of the North American Endurance Championship presented by VisitFlorida.com. And on behalf of everyone at Visit Florida, the Speed Source team, Spirit of Daytona, 2 Florida-based teams, will present the 2013 North American Endurance Championship trophy to Felix Sabates and Chip Ganassi.
And let's hear from Chip Ganassi. A little handshake down here to Felix Sabates and Chip Ganassi. And Chip, so often I feel like we're handing you Rolexes. Today we're handing you a check for $100,000.
That's really nice, Chris. And, you know, Felix and I, we started this program I don't know how long ago, and this Endurance Championship means a lot, I'll tell you. It's something we've been after to win. We wanted to win it last year. We came up a little short. We're pretty excited. Want to thank all of our sponsors in Mexico, Telmex, Telcel, all of BMW, everybody that helps us is really, this is for them.
You've won pretty much everything in the series. Now you got the North American Endurance Championship, but you haven't gotten the win at Indy in the Rolex Series.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
All right, congratulations, Chip.
Congratulations indeed. Now to Brian Till.
Well, it's time to hand out trophies as well in the GT category. Mike Johnson, you and I were talking, and you were having a hard time doing the math. You guys weren't even sure that you had won it in GT.
No, we had no idea. Last year, it was based on a team effort. So if one car won one race and the next car won the other, you got points for the team. So when we looked at the points, we thought as long as AIM beat us, they would win it. It was the wrong car, so we ended up winning the championship. And we were all depressed. I mean, afterwards, finishing second and having such a great race, I was like really, really upset. And then I heard over the radio it said Stevenson won, and oh man, this is great. I mean, so happy for John and Susan to win their first championship, but I mean, it's the little one. We still got a long way to go to get the big one. That's what we really want.
$50,000 will have a pretty good celebration, yeah?
Yeah, no, I told him just to back that up to the trailer right now. We prefer singles because we want to go out tonight. So.
There you go, guys, from GT to GX with Darren.
I'm here with Sylvain Tremblay. Sylvain, this is a huge accomplishment for you guys. I mean, the startup of this program, Mazda, building these new cars, and then you come home with a championship for the North American Endurance.
It's really cool, and plus, you know, that's a Visit Florida championship. So to bring our Mazda Sky Active diesel to end it on a win at Indy, first diesel win, just real happy to be kissing the bricks and walking away with the championship. Great testament to Mazda Sky Active technology. Go get yourself a Mazda 6 right now, guys. Thank you.
There you go. Sold that one.
Well, once again, you can hand out a beautiful trophy and a big check, but ultimately, I think it comes down to the bricks here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Time for some final thoughts. Calvin?
Well, it's just a fantastic day of racing. So many twists and turns in this race. So many potential winners in both the GT and the DP class. And a few guys threw it away here today, and it's had huge implications all the way around. I mean, the 10 team looked on the verge of victory, maybe winning the North American Endurance Championship. They pile themselves way down the order. 15th place today really takes them out of the championship lead. Starworks with the debut of that BMW engine, Dorsey, get the win here, and a massive vault in the points as well. It's a big day for them.
You know, when you come to Indy, you load your gun with everything you can. They loaded them with Formula One stars, IndyCar stars, the best of the best. But the big bullet came from BMW today, just like you said, Calvin. That new 4.5-liter 4-valve is going to be a tough combination for the rest of this year.
And that's a great point, Dorsey. The rest of the year, now that the excitement of the North American Endurance Championship is behind us, we can start talking about the season-long championship. 4 races remain in the 2013 season. Next round will be at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, America's Nürburgring, and it'll be interesting to see how those two guys specifically and their new BMW engines go. And then on to Kansas Speedway, Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca in California, and the season finale at Lime Rock. All the numbers crunching is done. Congratulations to our champions in the North American Endurance Championship. And we thank you for joining us here at Indianapolis. It's been a great day, a fun race, but there's more to come in 2013. For now, for Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till, Chris Neville, and Darren Law, I'm Bob Varsha. So long from an eventful day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. See you again from Road America. Till then, so long, everyone.